will kickstart the process of looking into claims of corruption in the police service, which also implicates members of parliament and prosecutors in the country's courts. Among the prominent people Mkhwanazi accused is Police Minister Senzo Mchunu, who has since been suspended. Babalondenza reports.
The ad hoc committee will investigate the allegations alongside the Judicial Commission of Inquiry, which is yet to start its own investigation. The committee will elect a chairperson, with parties expected to put forward their own nominations on who should lead the committee before it starts planning its program. Committee member Ian Cameron said at the weekend that the committee will focus on specific cases and not politics.
It zooms in on the specific issues. What's nice about it as well is I don't think it can easily be over-politicized. You're not going to get crowded with 25 people trying to showboat to get attention.
Once the investigation gets off the ground, the committee is expected to invite Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi and suspended Minister Senzo Mchunu to make submissions. Babalo Ndanza, Eyewitness News.
Police in the Free State are investigating a case of a woman who was stabbed and burnt beyond recognition. It's understood a community member found her body yesterday in Butlokong. Police spokesperson Marco Mopiring says they are trying to determine whether the woman was sexually violated before she was killed. He says that it's disheartening that at the start of Women's Month, such crimes are being committed.
Any person with such an information that may lead to the arrest and conviction of the suspect, they can contact Detective Captain Mutaung on or SAPF's Crime Stop number.
Trade and Industry Minister Park Stau says South Africa's trade relations with China are not going to be a quick fix in the wake of hefty US tariffs. This comes as South Africa makes another attempt to renegotiate economic and bilateral ties ahead of the implementation of the tariffs this week. The 30% duty is expected to have a knock-on effect on the country's economy, the agriculture and manufacturing sectors, and shed an estimated 30,000 jobs. Stau says government is working on strengthening trade relations with other countries.
It does take long to secure markets, but these are markets we've been working on. And I elaborated on China as but just one example. I'm not going to ignore that that does not come with geopolitical implications, because we've always taken a view that as a country that is non-partisan, as a country that has taken a view that in fact we will trade with all parties on the basis of what's in our interest. I'm not suggesting that there are unlikely to be complications.
And Brazil's former president Jair Bolsonaro is under house arrest for breaking a social media ban. The Supreme Court made the order that will likely escalate a dramatic standoff between the court and the politician who is accused of plotting a coup. Bolsonaro is on trial at the Supreme Court for allegedly plotting to cling on to power after losing the 2022 election to current President Lula da Silva. The Supreme Court Justice says Bolsonaro used social media networks of his allies to spread messages that encouraged attacks on the court and for an intervention in the Brazilian judiciary. Gold is trading at $3,374.87 an ounce. The rand is at 17.93 to the dollar, 23.82 to the pound, 20.73 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $68.62 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got some delays on the N3 North approaching the Geldenhuys interchange. Please be on the lookout there. There's also queuing traffic already on the R59 North in the Marisdal area approaching Swartkoppies Road.
A fine day in store for Gauteng, Johannesburg starting at 6 degrees, peaking at 21, Pretoria 5 and 23, Vereeniging 2 and 22 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, an ad hoc committee investigating allegations made by KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi will meet for the first time today to elect its chairperson.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
On 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. 6 minutes after 6 o'clock. Welcome to 702 Breakfast. My name indeed is Bongani Bingwa. I'm feeling energetic on this Tuesday. Well rested, had a great night's sleep, went to bed on time, did my routine in the evening with chamomile tea. Had a fantastic sleep. How are you feeling this morning? Are you energized? Are you ready to go? You on your way to the gym? Did you get into the office early before the noise to get through all the admin and the emails and the deadlines and the correspondence? Where are you this morning? Are you in Mirafong, Carltonville, Hutong, Fochville, Wedela, Blaybank? Wherever you are around the world, we love to hear, especially if you're outside of South Africa, where you are listening to us from. So send us a shout out and tell us. I'm not alone, of course. Amuramila is here on traffic this morning.
Good morning, Bongs. Looking good in your suit, well suited.
So should I be suiting up every day now?
Yes, just for 5 days in a week so that we can see
if I can complete the week.
Yeah.
Do I have 5 suits? Mm-hmm. Is that what you want to know?
I do know you have more, but I just want to see how you can style them every day.
Look at Mateo. He's upping his game. He's looking like he's fresh from a Queen's Park or Woolies catalogue.
Are we doing this every day?
Oh,
you guys.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
On 702.
Let's walk the talk.
We are a radio show, fear not. I just thought I'd describe what people are wearing. The producers, Rofiwa and Siamtanda, in the booth taking your calls. Sfiso Zulu has everything you need to know in Eyewitness News. As always, our mission is to tell you what's going on in the world and why it matters to you and how it will impact you. Now, on our show this morning, a number of you sent us voice notes yesterday wanting to know a little bit more about this AARTO and the demerit system and how it's going to work. Can you lose them and earn them back? How badly must you drive before they take your license away? And what is that period of suspension if they do, before then you have to start the process all over again? And if not just the motorist, but also the vehicle may be docked, what happens to companies that have fleets of vehicles and different drivers? So you might want to root out the bad driver, but the rest of them might be doing well. So what happens to your fleet in that instance if the car, for example, is also docked? Many, many questions clearly still unanswered. And so we thought we'd get it from the horse's mouth. We've invited Mondem Kalipi, who is from the Road Traffic Infringement Agency, to explain exactly how all of this will work. Now, we saw a joint briefing yesterday by Ministers Ronald Lamola and Park Stau. And the question to ask this morning is the 30% tariff imposed by the Trump White House merely the amuse-bouche, or is there more to come? And what's the plan? What's the contingency plan? I mean, yesterday they were announcing all kinds of measures to support local exporters, and it feels to me that they're going to be driving this through the Industrial Development Corporation, which, for all the good work they do, is still a funder for profit. Am I correct, Muteo? They're not there to cushion things that go awry with the market. They're not there to prevent entities from receiving the blows of the open market. Do I get it wrong?
No, you don't. But I think the government here is trying to use them in the sense that they're there to also support business. And this is what is at risk at the moment.
For profit?
For profit, yes. You do pay back that money. It doesn't just come for free.
So what we've decided to do is we're speaking to somebody who was crucial in part of the private-public partnerships, the last few crises we've had from COVID-19 and following July 2021, where government said, business, let's talk. How do we pool our resources? How do we put our brains, our combined intellectual capital to make sure things run smoothly? And one of the questions I'm going to be asking Stavros Nicolaou, my guest after 7 o'clock, is this moment one such as those? Is it a time for everyone to pull together to find a way forward? He's also, of course, a BRICS Business Council member. So he'll be wearing many hats. And then, oh man, there's a fantastic exhibition that's going to be happening at the University of Pretoria. We're going to speak to the head of the Market Photo Workshop. It's a photography exhibition, and it focuses on the migration crisis, but the stories behind the people who've had to pack everything at the last minute, or essentially at times leave everything all at once and simply escape with their bodies and their lives. Those stories, what do they mean? How do you tell that through photography, right? The pain of having to leave at a moment's notice everything that is familiar to you, and you try and go somewhere else to begin a new life where you know you're not even wanted. It's a fantastic exhibition, and we'll tell you all about it just before 9 o'clock.
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
7:02 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
All right, 12 minutes after 6 o'clock. Here's a question. How easy it for you to admit you are wrong? And let me give you a scenario. You are trying to convince maybe the rest of your family or your team or your colleagues or your friends. You've taken a particular position. You are firmly convinced yours is the correct one, but it's not just one person who disagrees with you. Everyone says no. Do you cave in from the sheer weight of the numbers against you? Do you say, strategically, let me withdraw? Perhaps over time they will begin to see the sense of my argument. Or are you that person who wants to give your interlocutor one more nugget? If only they knew this little fact, then they would see it the way I do. Do you mutter under your breath and say, they shall see. They will come back to me. And when you concede, do you concede genuinely and move on and take the majority view? Or do you sit there waiting for you to be proved right? Of course, we're asking this shout out as a way to illustrate something in the news we'll tell you about in the next 10 minutes or so. But at what point do you walk away, even if you're convinced you're right, but from an argument that you are not winning? When do you walk away? Mateo?
I think the ego gets in the way sometimes, where you're like, no, you guys don't understand. Let me put it in a different way. There is a... and you try to add more facts. I think I've done that a few times. And if I do concede sometimes, I'll say under my breath, oh, nizobona, you know, like, because...
You'll see.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll see, even though you don't say that.
You know, I don't say it to them, but I'm like, time will prove me right, you know, at some point. So it's not easy to concede.
In a marriage, it's not a winning strategy, is it?
Oh, no, always concede in a marriage.
Well, especially if you're the husband, I think.
It's not a fight you want to win.
Is that right, Amo?
Oh, absolutely. That is right. But I just walk away, man. There's no time to, force something or force an idea of your own to people. You can't force people to think like you are. So I just concede and I move on. And if I am wrong, almost immediately I do say, I'm sorry, I concede. We'll take your point and we'll move forward.
All right, 011-883-0702. I'd love to take your voice notes on 072-702-1702. How easy is it for you to concede that you may have got it wrong? Or do you find one more little nugget, one more little precious example or illustration to make your point? At what point do you just walk away?
Let's walk the talk.
7:02.
15 minutes after 6 o'clock. One of the things that I've said ad nauseum now since last year's general election is... Sorry, I just had a brain freeze. We did go to the elections last year, right? It all changed last year, 2024. Yes, it did. There are so many elections, right? We talked about how the work of Parliament is going to be so different. And I think you've already seen in so many of the portfolio committees where members of the executive are being asked tough questions. I mean, you could even argue that the downfall of the now former Minister of Higher Education, Ngabane, was because of her conduct in a meeting of a portfolio committee, which 5 years ago would have been a nothing moment, right? It might have gone viral, but we would have all rolled our eyes and moved on. So now we've got an ad hoc committee that's going to investigate the allegations made by the KZN Police Commissioner, Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, and they're meeting for the first time today to elect a chairperson. The 18 members will kickstart the process of investigating those claims from a parliamentary point of view. So whilst, of course, the Madlanga Commission will begin its work, this parallel process, and I dare say, I suspect it's going to be faster, will also do its work. And it is no longer a fait accompli that the chair, for example, will come from the ANC, right? The numbers in that committee mean these are parliamentarians who, for the first time, are really, really going to engage with the issues. Of course, politicians will be politicians and there'll be some point scoring, but it's one of those first times where you've got real hope that Parliament will do its job to try and hold the executive accountable. I'm optimistic. I hope you are too.
Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
17 after 6. Mutel, you've got a question of your own?
Yeah, I want to know this morning, have you ever had to pull rank on a colleague or a family member, just reminding them your position and theirs? Do you do it publicly or do you pull them to the side and say, look, I think I'm senior here and I've made the decision, so let's keep it moving? Or
can I give you a great response? I'm going to quote Margaret Thatcher, who used to say, being in power is like being a lady. If you have to tell people you are, you aren't.
You just have to do it in her voice as well.
Right? By the time I'm pulling rank, what rank is there to speak of? You must hear it the first time. He wasn't expecting that answer, was he? We'll tell you what prompts that question coming up.
702.
Weather.
18 after 6. What conditions can you expect on this Tuesday? Johannesburg temperature starting at 6 degrees, peaking at a slightly warmer 21. Pretoria 5 and 23. Vereeniging 2 and 22. Cape Town cloudy. Some morning showers expected, a high of 15. Bombela 25. Bloemfontein 22. Durban fine with a moderate northeasterly wind, peaking at 27 degrees. Gqeberha has 19. East London 24. Kimberley 23.
Good morning, Bongani and the team. I'm listening to you all the way from Khasilega village in Lephalale, next to Palala, next to Botswana, via DSTV. Hello, Bongani!
EWN. Traffic.
Love it, love it, love it. Keep them coming. Of course, we keep telling you that we're live streaming on YouTube so you can see us, but there's so many options to listen to us. Via the app, the Prime Media Plus app, you can go there and listen to 702 there. You can, of course, tune in on DSTV channel 856. You can just switch on your radio in your car or in your kitchen. There are many, many options, and we appreciate every single person who's listening. Now, some of them are already saying, get on with it. We want to know what's Amo got for us in traffic.
Well, if you're traveling on the N3 North at this particular moment, we've got delays, peak time pressure piling up there between the Airlines Interchange and Van Buren Road. Please be on the lookout. While traveling on the M1 North, some delays between Boyson's Road and Smith Street. There's also queuing traffic already on the N1 North approaching Winnie Mandela Drive. And speaking of Winnie Mandela Drive, in the Fourways area, we do have faulty traffic lights right at Leslie, and they are already causing delays. So please be patient on the roads. I'll have more updates for you, but if you come across anything else, please do remember to share those reports with us. We are on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
There's reasons you keep going back. The beans are bold, the vibe is just right, and the barrister knows your name and your order. Your barista, I think, right? Barrister is the lawyer. It's the barista who makes your coffee. Am I right? Yeah. Your favorite coffee shop isn't just where you grab a cup. It's part of your daily rhythm, isn't it? Your reset, your ritual. If it makes your mornings smoother or your afternoons brighter, well, now's your chance to say, I see you. Nominate them as Gauteng's greatest coffee shop at primemediaplus.com, because Gauteng isn't just a hub of business, it's the home of excellence. The excellence deserves your applause. Gauteng's greatest awards on 702, powered by Yoko. So we're looking for various winners in different categories. The coffee shop is yet one example. It could be your favorite hairdresser. It could be your favorite fruit and veg grocery shop. Whatever it is, you can go to Prime Media Plus. This, of course, is brought to you by Yoko. As I say, let Yoko counter-fuel your business to greatness. Go to yoko.com to explore the new point of sale solution, saving hundreds of businesses time and money.
There's power in a single partner who helps you build a better employee benefits strategy. Begin with retirement, the foundation of securing your employee's future. Now layer in everyday health, mental wellness, and financial balance. And finally, essential protection for life's curveballs, from illness to income loss. Now that sounds like a complete benefit strategy, one that protects your people and powers your business. Talk to us at employeebenefits@oldmutual.com about Old Mutual Corporate's integrated employee benefits solutions. Old Mutual Corporate is a division of Old Mutual Life Assurance Company SA Limited, a licensed FSP and life insurer. T's and C's apply. When your internet connection fails, does it really matter how fast it is? Business class internet is built for businesses. With remote monitoring, that means faster problem resolution and a backup LTE connection that keeps you online. Your company deserves business class internet, because just reboot the router isn't a business strategy. Find reliability at vodacombusiness.co.za. Together, let's build the extraordinary. Further together. Vodacom Business.
702.
Add your voice.
Have your say.
Let's walk the talk.
Bongani, I have a client who has a fleet of trucks. He budgets 20,000 Rand a month for the bribes to the cops, because although his trucks, there's nothing wrong with them, they stop and they hold him up and it makes him late for clients. Whereas if they just pay the 500 Rand bribe, they're allowed to go. How is AARTO going to monitor this? Oh my gosh, I'm so passionate about, forget all this rubbish. Let's clamp down on corruption. Forget your fleet worries. Oh, please. For 500 bucks, you can get away with anything.
Yeah. It's sad. It's sad that that's what your client has to do, because, as you say, it's got nothing to do with the state of his vehicles, but time is money. And so obviously, if you're just held up for no reasons, for nuisance purposes, people find ways to deal with this kind of thing. I wonder what can we do to deal with these corrupt cops?
Start your day with Bongani Bingwa
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
24 after 6, things you need to know at this hour. So listen to this. 10 police officers from the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department, the MPD, and Zakane Police Station were arrested yesterday for alleged corruption. This follows an incident in Edenvale in June. So they're accused of stealing some 35,000 Rand in cash and 150,000 Rands worth of cigarettes, and even grandpa tablets with 5,000 Rand. So they went to a Bangladeshi-owned shop, but they didn't realize there were cameras inside. And so CCTV footage shows the officers restraining staff and ransacking the store, while the shop manager reported threats and intimidation when he opened a case against them. And now they are the ones behind bars. The Israeli Prime Minister has asked the International Red Cross to deliver food and medical aid to hostages held in Gaza amid global outrage over videos showing their deteriorating condition. Benjamin Netanyahu is responding to tens of thousands of Israelis protesting in Tel Aviv, calling for an end to the war and a deal to free hostages, whilst Hamas demands humanitarian corridors in Gaza before allowing this aid to come in. I want you to listen to a clip from yesterday. Emma Murphy, who is the international editor for ITV News in the UK. So what essentially they do is they flew over Gaza as high as the Israelis could allow them. And from about 15,000 meters above the ground, they were able to take some aerial visuals of what Gaza looks like. I want you to have a listen to her description of what it is they were seeing.
Building by building, Gaza is being erased. Cities like broken skeletons laid waste by war. Graveyards of life and lives. The streets, homes and coffee houses of old now cast to the ground. The soul of this place, along with the souls who lived here, brought to ruin in the rubble and dust. Israel bans foreign journalists from entering Gaza. 15,000 feet above, is the closest we get to seeing for ourselves the consequences of the war it is waging here. When we joined an airdrop last week, Israel also tried to restrict images from above being filmed or shown. Aid being dropped from this flight is to those who are trying to survive in this hell. This landscape of destruction looks otherworldly, yet it's not. It is this world, and what is happening may yet come to define one of its darkest eras, one that casts a stain on humanity, which will endure for generations.
When do you walk away? There was a time when South Africa seemed isolated on our position on Israel and Gaza. And now increasingly, certainly, in Western countries, populations are rising to speak up. I don't know if you saw the protests in Australia this past weekend. There are now protests even within Israel itself for this thing to end. When does Netanyahu walk away? Russia's long dormant, and I've got to say this right, Krashenikov volcano erupted for the first time in around 500 years, just days after a massive 8.8 earthquake struck the Kamchatka Peninsula. A 3.7-mile-high ash plume was released, but no populated areas were affected. We'll hear more about this in the World View. The National Council of Provinces convened a closed-door session with Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi yesterday to address some of the issues he has raised. And so we're seeing now Parliament beginning to really take Mkhwanazi's allegations seriously, all following that media briefing. Because remember, of course, he told them first. Shoprite is pulling out of Malawi after 25 years, selling its 5 stores to local investors, and it follows similar exits from countries like Nigeria, Kenya, and Uganda. Shoprite says it will focus on growth in South Africa, where there it continues to expand rapidly.
702.
The newspapers.
Sfisa Zulu, what's grabbing your attention in the papers? Good morning.
Good morning. Page 7 of the Sowetan this morning, they are talking about how these conversations about a male birth control pill are gaining momentum globally. Healthcare professionals in South Africa say that the country is far from ready, both medically and socially. One of those is a nurse that they spoke to who says that male birth control pills are not anywhere near to being introduced in the public healthcare system. And on top of that, big pharmaceutical companies is not making the development of male contraceptives a priority. And for now, the nurse says that men have to use condoms, withdrawal, or go for a vasectomy, but vasectomies are not offered in public hospitals. And he is saying that he believes even if a pill became available, many men would not take it seriously because they hardly go to the clinics.
Goodness me, I would have thought there's so many reasons for men in this economy to make sure that they don't make anyone pregnant, but that's just me perhaps. The front page of the Soweto is a really stunning picture. EAARTO aivai, and they say dozens of Rea Vaya buses have been found to operate with expired license discs, faulty brakes, doors that don't even close, and as a result, drivers are downing tools. Business Day, exporters get state shield from tariffs, and the front page of the Citizen, traffic cop target 7,000 Rand fines a day. I heard on EWN yesterday afternoon, already there have been denials around that one.
EWN Business.
Mateo wants to know, do you pull rank to colleagues, family members? Do you remind people of your seniority in front of other people especially? I say if you have to remind them, how senior are you really? What prompts the question?
Bongani Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana has reminded his finance cluster counterpart Lesija Kganyago who's who in the policy pecking order. This is after the SARB last week announced it would be focusing its inflation target at around 3%. Now, in a strongly worded statement, Godongwana reminded the SARB governor that the finance policy making institution remains the country's Treasury Department. The country's central bank has been making a case for a lower interest rate target, saying it would be important in keeping interest rates low. Now, inflation targeting is a monetary policy framework where a central bank uses uses interest rates and other tools to keep inflation within a specific range. Although used by the SARB, the policy direction is determined in the Finance Minister's office. Now, Kodongwana says he emphasized during his budget presentation earlier this year that any adjustments to inflation targeting will follow the established consultation process. Now, this means comprehensive consultation between National Treasury, the Reserve Bank, Cabinet, and other relevant stakeholders, and not unilateral announcement that preempt the legitimate policy deliberation. Now, the SARB is trying to tweak the country's inflation targeting, saying the current 3 to 6% target range is too wide, too high, and makes it difficult to keep interest rates lower. In its quarterly projection model, the SARB says for a 4.5% inflation objective, which it currently uses, interest rates bottom out at around 7%. But by contrast, the forecast for a 3% objective has roughly 5 more rate cuts in it over the next 3 years, making interest rates slightly below 6%. Last week, Governor Lesija Kganyago announcing a 25 basis point cut to the benchmark repo rate to around 7%. So we've hit the 7% the SARB is talking about, and it says if we want more cuts, we need to focus on inflation that's around 3%.
Gosh, you'd think sometimes people don't have each other's numbers, hey? Each other's telephone
Quick
numbers.
call, eh?
Yeah. Where's the rand?
17 Rand 94 against the US dollar, 20 Rand 73 cents against the euro, and a 23 Rand 81 cents against the British pound. Price of gold at $3,373 an ounce, or platinum is at $1,320. Brent crude at $68.62 a barrel. More business after 7.
Coming up in the next half an hour, we look at the AARTO demerit system. How will it affect you? Is it just a money-making scheme? In the meantime, Stavros, you're starting in my home province. Good morning again.
That's right, Bongani. Good morning. The Eastern Cape Education Department says it will conclude an investigation into the bullying of a schoolgirl within the next 2 weeks. The probe started after a video of the girl being attacked by a group of boys went viral on Friday. Education MEC Fundile Gadi says the police have been suspended pending the outcome of the investigation.
Once you become led from a procedural point of view, you might put everybody under stress. So that's why I'm saying this matter that is not going to take beyond 2 weeks. It must conduct investigations now, conclude them.
10 Ekurhuleni Metro cops and SAPS officers arrested on corruption and theft allegations will appear in the Germiston Magistrates Court today. They are accused of taking stock from a store on the East Rand during a raid for their own benefit. Police Directorate IPID spokesperson Lizzie Shuping.
They also arrested the cashier for trading in illicit cigarettes and the other employee for violating immigration rules. It is also alleged that the accused officers failed to record all the merchandise seized from the shop at the police station. The shop manager allegedly disputed the quantity and type of merchandise booked in the occurrence book to the station commander.
A split in an alleged underworld crime organization called the Brotherhood, police corruption, and the birth of a nightclub security war all came under the spotlight in the Western Cape High Court. Alleged underworld gang boss Jerome Donkey Boyson and 11 others are on trial for the murder of the man dubbed the Steroid King, Brian Weinstein, in 2017. Carlo Peterson has more.
A Hawks detective highlighted an incident at Cocoa Bar nightclub in 2016 which caused a split in the group, resulting in Colin Boyson joining their rival, alleged underworld gang boss Nafis Modak. She also used a recording of a phone call between Liffman and Naudé to highlight an incident at a property auction in Parow in March 2017.
Mark and Andre were at the auction.
In a separate trial, Modak previously testified he decided to take over security at Cape Town's nightclubs from Liffman after they had an argument at the auction. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News.
And a severe weather alert has been lifted on Beijing, but residents have been urged to stay vigilant against natural disasters. More than 82 people people were evacuated yesterday over fears of more deadly floods in the Chinese capital. The Weather Office has imposed a rainstorm warning, the highest in a 4-tier system yesterday, forecasting heavy downpours. Last week, floods in Beijing's northern suburbs killed at least 44 people and left 9 missing. A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures are at lows of 2 and 6 degrees, peaking at highs between 21 and 23.
And in the traffic in Roodepoort, there's an accident reported on the N1 North that happened right near Albertina Sisulu Road. It's causing delays as we come out of the N17, while in the city of Tshwane, Mountain View, another accident along the R80 East Mabopane Highway. Just as you approach Eskom Pahlele Drive, it's also causing delays.
The top story this hour, the Eastern Cape Education Department says it will conclude an investigation into the bullying of a schoolgirl within the next 2 weeks.
702 delivers
on the matters that matter to you.
Hi, this is Craig from Kempton Park. What an amazing experience, I must say, especially visiting, people behind the scenes. There's a lot of amazing people that we don't know about behind the scenes that's working very hard to serve you, the listener. Very, very impressed with everything that's going on. Fantastic studios, very professional setup, trendy, vibey. It epitomizes everything that this radio station does, and definitely it is the radio station for the people.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts.
so we can deliver more on what matters to you.
702 listens.
Let's walk the talk.
Don't miss out on the Powerball jackpot, estimated at a mind-blowing 124 million rand this Tuesday. Dare to dream big by playing Powerball now for an estimated 124 million rand jackpot. And your chance at multi-millions. Buy your tickets now in-store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529 hash for USSD. Panda, push up, play. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. Ituba is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
Business Outsurance are experts in business insurance for real estate agencies, law firms, computer services, and more. Yakolin?
We saved a lot of money when we switched over from another insurance company to Business Outsurance. We've had some claims and they were friendly and efficient and paid out when they promised.
Switch to Business Outsurance and you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium. Visit outsurance.co.za. Switch and save today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Your office is more than just a place to work. It's a reflection of your success. At Desk and Chair, we help you elevate your workspace with locally manufactured desks and a wide range of chairs to suit your style and budget. Our expert consultants are with you every step of the way, from planning to delivery and assembly. Visit our showroom in Midrand or shop online at deskandchair.co.za. Desk and Chair. Think, feel, work better.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Morning, Bongani. Just responding to Mutawa's question. I found the older one gets, the more one gets involved in family things, especially there's tensions around funerals. And of course, your parents are getting older, so you must step up. And those are the times where I've realized one tends to have to remind people who is who, where in this family tree, and where decisions need to be made. It's quite scandalous. The first time you do it, your voice is shaking a bit, but the more you get into it, you're like, this is it. This is what we're doing. Da-da-da-da-da. Scandalous. Anyway, Kunsa from work. Bye.
Good morning, 702. So I've never pulled a rank on anyone, but it has been pulled on me. And the lady said, I'm management from HQ, and I'm telling you that you were responsible for this thing, for going wrong. You were supposed to do 1, 2, 3. And I told her, as HQ, then you should know that that is against the rules. So what I did was not wrong. And you should know also that we are not supposed to be discussing this in a corner. So let's have a meeting with HR. Let's sort it out properly. Had that meeting and HR said, well, this doesn't sound right. Management has to apologize to you. You guys didn't do right by her. So yeah, Bongani is right. If you have to pull out that card, you've already lost.
Wow, you took it there. You said, bring it on. You stood your ground. I love it. I love it. Mutero was asking, have you ever had to pull rank on a colleague or even member of the family where you have to remind people of your seniority? And of course, comes after the finance minister has reminded the Reserve Bank governor, Lesetja Kganyago, who is who in the pecking order of setting financial policy. As I said earlier, I wonder if either of them simply have lost each other's phone numbers. We didn't need to see this.
EWN Sport.
All right, Cindy Paluta, let's start.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Yes,
Should we start with rugby?
Yes, let's start with some rugby news because
Pull rank on me.
yeah, the Lions confirming they've signed the junior box superstar Batobele Hlekane for next season. The Lions wanted him to start immediately after flanker Izan Esterhazen suffered a season-ending injury in the first round of the Currie Cup, but that unfortunately didn't go the Lions' way, but they will get him from next season. Rugby Championship opens next weekend at Ellis Park with the Boks hosting Australia. Wallabies coach Joe Schmitz is expected to name his side on Thursday, and we could see the surprise inclusion of Nick White. White had announced his retirement, but Jake Gordon has injured his hamstring, and that could force White to delay hanging up his boots. Also expected to be in the side is Will Skelton, who hasn't played in the Rugby Championship in 2 years, but had a great series against the Lions. Proteas are in Australia ahead of the T20 and ODI series that opens this Sunday. A B-side Proteas team recently competed in Zimbabwe, but for most of the Test champions, it's been a welcome time off. Aidan Markram says the players are ready to go.
When you strive towards a goal, which is obviously the next thing on our agenda is T20 World Cup, it's quite easy to get out of bed and work hard and look forward to that. So that's pretty much where we're at. Where I'm at personally and for us as a team is fine-tuning a lot of things and preparing for that T20 World Cup. So a great opportunity in Australia and then followed by England and fine-tune some stuff and get closer towards another trophy. That'll be good.
Cindy, I know they're there for a T20 and ODI series, but yesterday I asked you a question. I said, this England-India series, how much has it... And I really don't know if it's won new fans, but certainly for those of us who love Test cricket, the longer version of the game, it has been invigorating. Yesterday, we were talking at around this time that it was 35 runs or 4 wickets. I could not have seen the India victory.
Never, not in, excuse me, not in a million years.
But wow, what a finish,
It just took 56 minutes. It took 56 minutes of play. I mean, the day started at 12, right? And I was running around doing
Our
stuff.
time, yes,
And
our time.
I got home at 20 past, and I was like, what do you mean India need 2 wickets? What do you mean England are like 19 runs away? It was phenomenal. I think for a lot of people, it's we always loved Test cricket.
Yes.
We've always loved Test cricket. I think it's always been, and those that were always like, oh, it's dying, are now going, hang on a sec.
There's something here.
It's amazing.
One of the fascinating aspects, as you were saying to me off air, is the idea that the runner is no longer a thing in Test cricket because it was seen. I suppose, in cricket in general, it was seen as an unfair advantage, right? So what? We had to have somebody wobbling with a shoulder injury.
So back in the day, in my day,
when we were young.
cricket had a runner. So basically, boys and girls, what it meant was if somebody got injured while playing, somebody else could run for them. And
The 12th man, I think, yeah.
Yeah, and it started to be seen as an unfair advantage because if you're cramping, you're cramping. If you're injured, retired, hurt. But poor Works yesterday, who had to come out, and the last man he actually played with his arm in a sling. Excuse me. And it reminded me of Graham Smith when he came out with his foot injury at Lord's.
Yes. Remember when he was also injured, I think it was it Sydney?
Yeah, sorry, Sydney.
Yeah, it was Sydney.
Yeah.
And he batted, I think it was a century.
With a broken finger.
Yeah, with a broken finger. I remember that. Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
I mean, I just think if you're a lover of Test cricket, do tell me if you've observed, if you've been following this India-England series, 5 Test matches, how much it's invigorated your love for the game.
Yep. So in the end, India winning by 6 runs to draw the series. The hero and man of the match, Suraj, taking 5 wickets. In tennis, Novak Djokovic has withdrawn from the Cincinnati Open for the 2nd consecutive year. It's a warm-up tournament for the US Open that starts on the 24th. And on the women's side in Montreal, Rybakina through to the semi-finals after her opponent Kostiak retired hurt. Rybakina will play teenager Mboko, who beat Monero in straight sets. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
The brainy kids of the Whiz Quiz
on 702.
Hi, Uncle Bongani. I am Oluhle and I'm 13 years old. I go to care to Kensington Secondary School and I want to be a doctor when I'm older. I would love to play Whiz Quiz with you.
Doctor, what will 10,000 Rand do for me? What will it do for you?
EWN Traffic.
14 to 7, this Eyewitness News traffic is brought to you by OUTsurance in partnership with 702. There's a crash on the N1 North. Amo, is it a bad one?
It is indeed, Bongani, in Roodepoort, just near Albertina Sisulu Road. It's causing delays coming out of the N17. About a 15-minute hold up there, so please be on the lookout and approach with care while traveling on the Mike 1 North bumper-to-bumper traffic. This is between Xavier Street all the way towards Smith Street, and this is due to a car that is stuck on the road right at the double-decker section, so please be on the lookout there. There's also queuing traffic on the N3 North. This is between either Earlands Interchange and Van Buren Road due to peak time delays. I'll have more updates for you. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
The OUTsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car on the way to the hospital carrying an elderly couple, playfully bantering about who their first grandchild will look like. The OUTsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car on traffic. It's bringing two generations together. Every story is different and every story matters. That's why the OUTsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. OUTsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
When selling a car, there's nothing worse than a long, frustrating process. We Buy Cars knows life's short and time is precious. Sell your car within a day from wherever you find it convenient. Simply complete the online form and We Buy Cars will make it happen. Need a new ride? Explore thousands of vehicles online or in-store. We Buy Cars, South Africa's trusted vehicle partner.
Dear Journal, day 3049 of trying to be an adult. I still haven't bought a recycling bin, so there's a mountain of cans in my kitchen that could collapse at any moment. Anyway, what's that saying about your home being a reflection of your mental state?
Got evicted from the family home? Get covered at pineapple.co.za. It's like 570 Rand a month, so it's 100% the insurance for you. Underwritten by Old Mutual Alternative Risk Transfer Insurer Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP. Premiums are risk profile dependent.
702.
Coming up at 7:15, the big interview.
Hey, honey, look. Went to the shops, like you asked, and it was the Deco Fern birthday sale. Picked up this amazing 3-seater sofa for only $5,599. And this coffee table, just $489. Oh, and this gorgeous standing mirror for like $699.
Wow, I just asked you to get some milk.
Get deals worth celebrating at Deco Furniture's epic birthday sale with 10 to 40% and more of everything in-store or online now at decofurnsa.co.za.
Coming up in the next hour, What's the Question? And it's brought to you by OUTsurance. Up to 3,000 Rand in cash is up for grabs. So what you do is you send us an answer based on something that piqued your interest during the show, and for that you win 1,000 Rand. WhatsApp us your name and the answer to 072 702 1702. A little later, someone else will ask a question to win 2,000 Rand. Now, you always stand a better chance of being selected if you've SMS'd out to OUTsurance and got yourself a quote. So to save on your car insurance, SMS out to 45142 now.
Who is the whizziest of them all?
It's the Whiz Quiz on 702.
Let's give away some cash. The Whiz Quiz. We play with kids aged 10 to 13. A chance to win 10,000 Rand. Oluhle is today's contestant. Wants to be a doctor. Oluhle, are you ready to play?
Yes, I'm ready.
We'll call you Dr. O, hey?
Yes.
Okay, good luck, Dr. O. KG, start the clock. Spell the word respond.
R-E-S-O-N-D.
R-E-S-P-O-N-D. Which wild animal is on a 10 Rand note?
Lion.
It's the rhinoceros. How many black queens are there in a deck of cards?
2.
Correct. Which bird has the longest legs?
Flamingo.
It's the ostrich. Give the third letter in the word suppose.
S.
P. True or false? Limpopo is a neighbor of Mpumalanga.
True.
Correct. What sport does Siamtanda Kolisi play for South Africa?
Rugby.
Correct. Complete the saying, easier said than what?
Done.
Correct. Which country's president is known by the acronym POTUS? Is it the USA or United Kingdom?
United Kingdom.
It's the USA. And that gives you a total of 4 correct answers, Oluhle. Bit of a rough one there for you. 4 correct answers, but well played, well tried anyway. If you rate 10 to 13, send us a WhatsApp voice note. We will be calling you.
The Brainy Kids of the Whiz Quiz.
On 702.
Current events, developing stories,
Tough questions.
your voice making a difference.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.
9 to 7. So yesterday, you remember, we painted a picture of, I don't know, you're cruising on the highway, the music is blasting, you're feeling like you're the king of the road. But every time you skip a red light or you speed just a little too much, you're not just breaking the rules, you're collecting points, you see, not loyalty points, demerit points. And when those add up, your license could be suspended or cancelled entirely. We spoke to advocate Stephanie Fick from the organization Undoing Tax Abuse about what this might mean for you. They've got particular objections. Many of you called us and said, actually, why don't we hear from the horse's mouth what was intended? So we've invited Mondem Kalipi, who is from the Road Traffic Infringement Authority, their spokesman, to help us wade through this traffic. Monde, thank you so much for your time and thank you for agreeing to an interview.
Good morning, Bongani. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you to the listeners of 702 for the time. Thank you so much.
All right. Let's just get straight into it. How does this system work?
Yes, Bongani. The points demerit system is part of the administrative adjudication of road traffic offences that was gazetted last Friday after the proclamation by the President, or the signing of the proclamation by the President. And how it is going to work. It is one of the provisions that are contained in the Act, and it starts with the set of traffic infringements to which certain demerit points are allocated. If, as you have indicated, you're driving on the road and then you go through a red traffic light, and then you are going to be served with a notice, an infringement notice that you have violated a traffic law. And over and above the fine that you are expected to pay, for violating the traffic law, there are going to be demerit points that are going to be attached. And then those demerit points, if you commit more infringements on the road and then they build up to 15. 15 is the set threshold. Once you step onto the 16th demerit point, and then your driving license has to be suspended. And then the suspension, if you get 2 suspensions, and then on the third suspension of your driving license, or the time that you go over the threshold of the 15 demerit points, and then your driving license is going to be taken away, and then you start from scratch in terms of applying for the learner's license. But there is also a flip side to it, Bongani. If, for example, you get 4 demerit points, and then let's say you are a compliant road user, get 4 demerit points, and then you drive well on the road for the period of 3 months, 1 demerit point falls off. And then you drive well again for another period of 3 months, and then another demerit point falls off, up until all the demerit points have fallen off, meaning that the system seeks to reward safe driving on the road, because that is the main intention of the legislation, because the country, what government is concerned about is the ever-increasing number of fatalities that occur on our roads. And after every Easter period, after every festive season, we see numbers going up. So it's very much concerning to government that something needs to be done, and we need to have road safety addressed on a daily basis.
Monde, how do you respond to the major criticism that this is just another money-making scheme and that it won't actually make our roads safer?
That is completely a false assertion, Bongani. AARTO is completely a national road safety intervention. And it has been tested in 2 jurisdictions in the country, Tshwane and in Joburg. And the empirical evidence that we have in front of us shows that the system is going to work.
All right, can I challenge you on that? Because one of the things we've seen in that rollout in Joburg and Pretoria is that this thing relies on the motorists getting the information regarding their infractions, and that doesn't seem to have happened within the regulated timeframes all the time. And so what's the point then?
Yes, we are aware there have been challenges, Bongani, but we have interacted with our stakeholders to make sure that is corrected. And also the system it also allows road users or the infringers, if they pick up such challenges, as you have rightly pointed out, that the system is highly regulated, failure to adhere to the timelines, that might lead to representations being successful that are submitted to the RTIA. So what we have done, we have made these options clear to the road users that if they pick up any a way where they see that we have not adhered to the regulations, then they can come forward and provide that evidence.
But I mean, administratively, if Johannesburg and Pretoria were struggling to get this thing right, and now you want a national rollout where many of the municipalities that will be doing it won't themselves have the capacity, will it really work?
Over the past period, Bongani, what is happening on the 1st of December, for example, we are rolling out phase 2 of AARTO. Phase 1, we've spent time addressing all these challenges that we have spoken about. We've interacted with our stakeholders, including the post office themselves. So we do have a system in place that is really going to assist that we are able to deliver and save. We are going to be able. Yes, the post office, Bongani, is one of the ways of delivering documents to the infringers. There are going to be 3 methods of delivering documents. We're not going to be confined to the post office. The system allows that documents are served personally. 1. The system allows that documents are served electronically. 2. The system allows that the documents are served through the registered mail. So it's going to be up to the infringer to choose which one that they think that is viable when it comes to them.
Right.
So, yes, we are not confined to any, and we are very much optimistic that the system is going to work.
Monde, we've got a couple of questions to get through, so let's try and do this as succinctly as we can. One of the issues that has arisen is that it's not just the driver that may be docked, but also the car. And so there was a question around companies that operate fleets. How will they work?
Yes, the system, AARTO, allows for four options in terms of administering traffic fines. We've spoken about the 50% discount that you get within the first 32 days. There is also what is called nomination of a driver, which some people call redirecting traffic fines. If a company has got fleet of vehicles, it could be trucks, ambulances. Normally, companies appoint what they call proxies or their fleet managers, and it is against the ID number of that particular individual that those vehicles will be registered. Meaning that when traffic fines come to the company on the infringements that have been committed by a particular vehicle, then that particular person will have a responsibility to redirect those traffic fines to the drivers who are employed by that company. Meaning that even the demerit points that will be coming in, they will end up falling onto the responsible driver.
It sounds like an onerous system because, I mean, that person may leave the employ of the business concerned in the interim and have to deal with things that they no longer are responsible for.
Yes, it is up to the company. We encourage companies to really have a system that is workable, that is also going to address those particular challenges. But over and above, one of the mistakes that was made by your rep yesterday was to say points will also be docked towards the vehicle. AARTO seeks to change the behavior of the driver, not the behavior of the vehicle. So at the end of the day, that is what it seeks to do. Any demerit point that will come up, that will be meted against the driver himself or herself.
Do we all start on a clean slate when the rollout happens? What about existing infractions?
Yes, we all start on the clean slate, Bongani. The system, all of us will be at zero. But when it comes to infringements that have been committed under the Criminal Procedure Act, which exists to the rest of the country, and AARTO under the two jurisdictions of Tshwane and Joburg, those will be handled under the system that will be in existence at the time the infringement was committed. We're not intending to carry over any infringements that were committed under AARTO and we put them at a time when the demerit points will be operational. So there will be transitional measures in place to address those particular matters.
All right, understood. I'm looking at the front page of the Sowetan today. Dozens of Rea Vaya buses found to be operating with expired license discs, faulty brakes, doors that don't even close. EAARTO says the Sowetan. Many motorists might say, hang on, aren't you coming for us because we're easy pickings? Deal with situations such as this example I've given you.
Yes, it's you know, we operate in a space where there are a number of role players because you have issuing authorities on the roadside who are going to be able to pick up all these challenges where you have drivers operating on our roads with expired driving licenses. So the issuing authorities or the traffic officers on the roadside, it is their responsibility to issue infringements to these particular individuals so that they can rectify that particular situation. So if one has committed infringements and then those infringements are going to be handed over to us, and then at the end of the day, AARTO or the RTIA, we will have a responsibility of ensuring that such people are taken off our roads up until they've got their paperwork sorted out.
All right.
And if such people continue to operate on our roads, then we'll have to make sure that their driving license or they are unable to utilize our roads, not anymore.
All right, Mondem Kalipi, appreciate your time. The Road Traffic Infringement Authority spokesperson.
702.
Coming up, the big interview.
We have a plan, say Ministers Dau and Lamola, but following Trump's tariffs, will it be enough to keep the wolves at bay?
This is EWN.
Children are among Zamazamas arrested in Barberton, and residents in the Northern Cape want the legal marriage age to be increased from what it currently is. Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. It's emerged that 4 of the nearly 500 illegal miners arrested during a police raid at a mine in Mpumalanga were children. The suspects appeared in the Barberton Magistrates Court yesterday. 26 South Africans with confirmed addresses were granted bail of 2,000 rand each. The case against the rest has been postponed to next week. Mongezi Koko reports.
Friday's raid, part of the National Valumgodi crackdown, is being described as one of the biggest illegal mining busts in recent years. Nearly 500 people were flushed out from underground, suspects from as far as Mozambique and Eswatini among them. Police also seized gold-bearing material, mining tools and even a firearm. The 4 juveniles will be dealt with in terms of the Child Justice Act, a process that focuses on rehabilitation rather than punitive sentencing. NPA's Monica Nyuswa says it will be challenging for all the accused to be granted bail.
So most of the accused, since they are coming from different countries, some are coming from Mozambique, some are coming from Zimbabwe, they were all denied, not that they were denied bail, but they were remanded in custody.
Meanwhile, authorities expect more illegal miners to surface in the coming days, including the 24 who resurfaced yesterday after spending the weekend underground. Mongezi Koko, Eyewitness News, Barberton.
Some members of the Kimberley community want Parliament to raise the legal marriage age above 18 years. They say many 18-year-olds have barely completed their schooling and can't take on the responsibility of married life. Parliament's Home Affairs Committee is currently holding public hearings on the marriage bill in the Northern Cape, where yesterday a strong religious sentiment was also expressed against same-sex marriage, despite it being legal for almost 2 decades. Lindsay Dentlinger reports.
Among those in support of a new marriage bill that would encompass all marriages and do away with 3 existing laws is traditional leader Kgosi Janki. But he wants to see polygamous and customary marriages protected under the new law. Janki says marriages under the age of 18, even with parental consent, should be outlawed.
We are in agreement that whoever who gets married should be or must be 18 years and above. And no one below the age of 18 should be allowed to get into a marriage.
Action SA's Northern Cape leader Andrew Lowe, however, thinks the legal age should be raised, given the high matric dropout rates in the province.
This for us, that's something that we cannot support, that the minimum age should be 18. However, we are proposing that the minimum age should instead be 21.
The hearings will continue in Kuruman today. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
Free State Police are investigating a case of a woman who was stabbed and burnt beyond recognition. It's understood a community member found the body yesterday in Butlokong. Police spokesperson Mako Mopering says they are trying to determine whether the woman was sexually violated before she was killed. He says it's disheartening that at the start of Women's Month, such crimes are being committed.
80% with such an information that may lead to the arrest and conviction of the suspect. They can contact Detective Captain Mutaung on or SAPF's Crime Stop number.
And lawyers for the family of Zambia's former head of state, Edna Lungu, have argued that it would be undignified for the courts to force the family to allow the country's current president to preside over his funeral. Lungu's family and Zambian government battled it out yesterday in the Pretoria High Court over where the former president should be laid to rest. The former president died in June while receiving medical attention in South Africa. However, his family wants him to be buried in South Africa in order to avoid the country's president from being involved in proceedings. Homoso Modise reports.
Edgar Lungu's family says it does not want Zambia's president, Hakainde Hichilema, to be involved in the former president's funeral because of how he was treated by his government. In 2023, Lungu was stripped of his presidential perks and retirement benefits when he returned to active politics. His family now wants the Pretoria High Court to rule that he be laid to rest in South Africa. However, the government's lawyers have argued that an agreement was reached by the family and the state that stated that Lungu's remains would be repatriated and allowed President Hichilema to be present at the funeral and welcome dignitaries. The court will now have to determine whether Lungu will be buried in South Africa or if a repatriation and state funeral in Zambia will be prepared. Khomza Modise, Eyewitness News.
Gold is trading at $3,372.33 an ounce. The rand is trading at 17.93 to the dollar, 23.82 to the pound, 20.72 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $68.66 a barrel.
Traffic remains heavily backed up in Kayasand as well as North Riding due to a major accident seen right at Northumberland Avenue and Malibongwe Drive. Please be on the lookout there. About a 20-minute hold up and traveling on the N1 North. More delays between, at this particular moment, Rancho Road and Albertina Sisulu Road. This is due to a major accident in the Roodepoort area.
And in your sport, the Lions finally signed junior box star Hlekane from the Sharks, but he'll only join from the 2026 season. Australia have an injury crisis that could force Nick White to delay his international rugby retirement. Proteas gearing up to face Australia in a limited over series that starts this weekend. And Novak Djokovic has withdrawn from the Cincinnati Open again.
A fine day in store for Gauteng. Johannesburg is at a low of 6 degrees, peaking at 21. Pretoria, 5 and 23. For the Ingang, 2 and 22 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, it's emerged that 4 of the nearly 500 illegal miners arrested during a police raid at a mine in Mpumalanga were children.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
8 minutes after 7 o'clock, you're listening to 702 Breakfast on this Tuesday morning. It is the 5th of August, the year of our Lord 2024. 2025. Ooh, not me erasing a whole year, right? What about these questions being raised by members of a community in Kimberley about marriage? How fascinating is that? Parliament's Home Affairs Committee is holding public hearings on the marriage bill in the Northern Cape. There were arguments heard. I mean, Lindsay Dentlinger, you heard that clip in Eyewitness News about raising the legal marriage age. What do you know at 18? What do you know of yourself, of the world, of where you come from, of who your people are, of your identity? At 18, you don't even know what your favorite drink is. You don't even know if you're a tea or a coffee person. Not really. You don't know if you're a whiskey or a wine person because you've never had any of those, we hope. Right? Can you really make a lifelong commitment, a lifelong decision, like getting married? Like at 18, how do you know she or he is the right one? They're suggesting that even really at 21, and that even with the consent of your parents, if you're under 18, you shouldn't do it. They might be onto something. What are your thoughts?
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
10 after 7, Amo. you remember who your crush was when you were 18 years old?
I do remember, but I don't think I would have still been with the person now if, let's say, the relationship had
That's what I'm saying.
Flourished. I don't think I would have wanted to be with them even.
At 18, what do you like about somebody?
I mean, you do like a lot.
What do you like about them?
But
That they can play soccer well. You know?
Yeah, because at that time you haven't built
They've
your
got
own
nice
wealth.
CDs.
You haven't.
You know, they've got nice sneakers that their
That
parents
a
bought
parents
for them.
bought for them.
What do you know about marriage at 18? I actually think they're onto something. I'd really love your calls on this on 011 883 0702. We'll take your WhatsApp voice notes on 072 702 1702. I asked the question earlier, how do you walk away from an argument when the preponderance of voices suggests that you are wrong? Do you cave in to the weight of the majority? Or do you keep throwing little nuggets of information, thinking, if only they knew this, if only they knew this, then they might be convinced? I want you to listen because I'm bearing in mind the situation in Gaza, the absolute disaster. I played you a clip from ITV News yesterday, their international editor, Emma Murphy. So I didn't play it yesterday, I played it today, but the clip is from yesterday. Their international editor, Emma Murphy, speaking to an interview in her studio, talking about what she witnessed when she recently went to Gaza. And I'm asking the question, at what point does this Netanyahu government walk away from this?
We only flew over part of Gaza, but the areas we flew over were completely devastated, and it's very difficult from the height we were, because we're not allowed in, to actually get any more detail than we managed to get there. But it was perfectly clear that there were huge areas of complete destruction, and the people were still trying to live within those areas. You could see on certain pictures just a little bit of movement where people were obviously just trying to eke out some form of survival there. And we also got the opportunity to speak to people who were leaving Gaza through Jordan, through medical evacuations. And it was very clear from speaking to them just how desperate that situation is. We can't get in order to say and show ourselves directly, but their testimonies were incredibly strong. They spoke of the devastation. They spoke of there being very little left of Gaza, and they kept speaking over and over again about their hunger. These are children who'd lived through war and who also had very, very serious injuries. But when we asked them how they felt, the only thing they told us was how poorly they felt, the pains in their stomachs and their need for food.
Gosh, these are children. These are children. Up next, we're going to engage with that joint press briefing by the two ministers yesterday, Park Stow and Ronald Lamola. But just for context, I want you to listen to a head of an international consulting firm. They're called Rapidan Energy Group. Bob McNally is the head of this firm, talking about the Trump tariffs, and he uses India as an example. And it's one of the questions I'm going to pose to my next guest, that we tend to look at this as a Trump issue, but is America a reliable partner on the international stage? Because the Biden administration was very keen for India to buy Russian oil. And what is Trump doing now? Imposing tariffs on India for doing exactly that.
The Indians must be having some confusion, because Joe Biden went to India after the invasion of Russia and begged them to take Russian oil so that crude prices will remain low, and they did. Now we're flipping around and saying, what are you doing taking all this Russian oil? The point is, President Trump is serious. He's frustrated with Putin. He's going to, I think, threaten these heavy secondary sanctions on India. I think the 25% tariff is just the amuse-bouche. That's just where we begin. There's this other yet-to-be-defined penalty that President Trump has threatened after October 8th if there's no ceasefire on India. I think they'll do something like the secondary tariff. The president seems to be very fond of this. He will threaten that if India doesn't agree to stop importing Russian oil. Then the question becomes, can they agree on a phase-out or a time frame for that to happen? But my bet would be secondary tariffs, potentially coupled with secondary sanctions. We go to Reliance and say, if we see you touch a barrel of Russian oil, your company and anyone who ever works for it will never set foot in the United States again.
So the question is the 30% tariff on South African exports merely the amuse-bouche? Don't you love that word? the amuse-bouche. It's the starter. It's a fancy way of saying the starter before the main meal. Will there be more to come, and what's the plan to deal with it if it does?
702. Up next.
The big interview. EWN Traffic.
This Eyewitness News Traffic is brought to you by OUTsurance in partnership with 702. Tell me about those delays in North Riding, Amo.
Bongani, an accident reported at Malibongo Drive and Northumberland Avenue causing those heavy traffic volumes. Hopefully it's not the amuse-bouche. It's not the starter of heavy delays throughout the morning. While traveling in Alberton, please be on the lookout for another accident scene reported right near Swartkopies Road. Delays as you come out of Clipperfield Drive. About a 15-minute hold up there. I'll have more updates for you. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Clever late excuse number 78. The GPS language setting mysteriously changed to Greek. Well, fortunately, with the OUTsurance pointsman on the roads, you no longer have to come up with creative excuses for being late. The OUTsurance pointsman ease traffic congestion to get you there quickly and safely. OUTsurance really means it when they say you always get something out. In proud partnership with 702, show them some love online using hashtag pointsmanlove. OUTsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings.
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
As a company, though, how do you plan on responding? Are we likely to see inevitable job losses? Do you think that this help that government says it will provide will assist you in some way to avoid, especially, the impact on job losses?
Until I see it in writing and I see what they're proposing, I will only be able to tell you then. As you know, we're already under pressure, government, financially. We don't have money in the budget, so I don't know where they're going to find the money. From our side, look, there won't be immediate job losses in our business. My biggest priority is to make sure that I do not lose any of my staff and that we don't lay off any staff. I'm more worried about my supply chain.
Sigfried Lokoch, Operations Director at Jengamak, an automotive company in the Eastern Cape.
Clements Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
Corporates That Care promotes and encourages corporate leaders and all citizens to walk the talk for a better South Africa. Catch Corporates That Care this Wednesday, 10 to 9. We're featuring Transnet. We'll be speaking to their CEO, Advocate Michelle Phillips. Join us every Wednesday to highlight efforts of companies and brands dedicated to building our country. Corporates That Care is a Prime Media Cares initiative with 702 and Prime Media Outdoor. 702, let's walk the talk and together make a difference.
As a business owner, would you rather deal with stacks of slips at the end of each day or have recons done instantly? Introducing Yoko Counter, the new all-in-one payments and points of sale system that removes the guesswork, the paperwork, and the time drain. Taking your business from chaos to control, guesswork to clarity, giving you back time to focus on what truly matters. Visit yoko.com today to find out more about the simple yet powerful out-of-the-box solution with free built-in points of sale software.
Looking for ways to live greener? Then don't miss Green Tip of the Week, your weekly dose of sustainable inspiration. From eco-entrepreneurs to climate champions, we sit down with people making real change. Green Tip of the Week, every Tuesday afternoon on Afternoon Drive with John Polman. Proudly brought to you by Volvo. It's safer to be brave with Volvo.
702.
The big interview.
With Bongani Bingwa.
19 after 7. So South Africa is scrambling now to find measures, alternative measures and markets following the failure of negotiations with Washington on those tariffs imposed by US President Donald Trump. In a joint press briefing yesterday, Ministers Park Stow and Ronald Lamola all but conceded defeat as the government announced emergency export measures. 100,000 jobs are on the line, we are told, if there are no alternatives to meet this roadblock brought on by the tariffs. One of the options clearly is to find alternative markets. So today we've brought BRICS Business Council member Stavros to unpack the opportunities, but also perhaps to have a conversation, because the last time we had a crisis of this magnitude, think COVID, think July 2021, government and the private sector brought their collective resources together to try and mitigate against the threat. Always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you for your time once again.
Bongani, good morning, and thanks very much for having me, and good morning to all the listeners.
So I don't know how much you followed yesterday's joint conference by the two ministers announcing a number of measures, but if you did, will it be enough to keep disaster at bay?
Bongani, I think I'm going to just make a quick reflection first before I answer your question. And I think it's necessary that calm heads prevail here. And in saying that, let's recognize that the United States is one of our most important trade and investment partners, if not the most important. But if I unpack that a little more, our exports to the United States are around 8% of our total exports. So there's another 92% that goes elsewhere in the world. So we need to analyze it on that basis first and foremost. Of course, the risk here is that if you lose share and scale because of the impact of the United States, you become less competitive in these other markets. Now, let me answer your question. I think yesterday was a start, and I'm very much a silver lining guy. And what we are trying to do in doubling down on diversifying economic partnerships, we should have been doing anyway as a country and haven't been doing. And if it takes a crisis to get us there, then so be it. So I am seeing some silver linings. I think the silver linings are, as you correctly pointed out, government and business have been speaking to each other on this topic. We need to double down on that effort. We, in fact, had, as Business Unity South Africa, had a meeting yesterday morning, and a number of good proposals came out of that. And the single most important nexus to those proposals is that we up the ante in collaboration with government. So we put our best foot forward as a country. We need to do two things in conclusion. One, we still need to try and get a deal with the United States. I don't think the roads necessarily come to an end. So there's, I think, ongoing efforts there. And if business can assist those, we need to look at how we best assist. And then the diversification, which is what you're discussing.
All right. It seemed to me yesterday that the Industrial Development Corporation is, in a way, the cushion that's going to be abused to absorb some of these blows, to offset that tariff. But they're a funder for profit, ultimately. Is that the right way to go about it?
Look, I think that the best way to weather the storm, quite frankly, is that we need to start implementing, delivering and executing on some of the other policies. So we talk a lot about reimagining an industrialized South Africa or reindustrializing South Africa. But we actually do very little by way of implementing policies and levers, industrialization levers. And for me, the most important of those is the Public Procurement Act, because that gives you scale, and manufacturing and industrialization is all about economies of scale. So it's a sad indictment that 15 months after the president enacted the Public Procurement Act, we still haven't had sight of the regulations. So these are the things that we need to improve both swiftly and dramatically if we are to industrialize. And if you industrialize, you better weather the storm. So for me, that's the one single act that I would be exceedingly focused on right now.
Commentators like Peter Bruce, though, suggest this whole dream for industrialization is perhaps stuck in a 60s mindset. And he uses the example of China. I mean, they are the biggest manufacturer in the world. And yet even that hasn't been able to cushion them from difficult times. You see the same kind of thing in economies like India, for example. Is that where we should be focusing?
So if I provide a deeper analysis on that, our problem here and why we've been caught short is that we export a lot of raw materials to the rest of the world, and we help the rest of the world industrialize. So changing that balance, and I accept that you're never going to run a trade surplus with China or with India, I accept that. But what we need to do, and I keep saying this, and I think I've said this previously on the show, Bongani, is we need to be more astute in our negotiations, and we need to start changing these trade patterns. Because if we do that, then we address Peter Bruce's concerns. So what should we and what ought we be doing? We should be selling more manufactured products and better leveraging, because we have got leverage with raw materials, better leveraging our raw material abundance in some of these trade negotiations, which we're not doing at the moment.
Do we need better negotiators? I mean, how much can the private sector be part of those conversations?
Look, I think I must give government some credit here, because they have been speaking to the private sector, but we haven't, and very often it takes, as you correctly pointed out, it takes a crisis for the two to pull together. So it took a Eskom crisis, it took a COVID crisis. So maybe this is another one of those.
Because the private sector needs to be in the room.
Absolutely. So DTIC has been speaking to individual sectors, but I think we probably need a coordinated government business response, and we shouldn't forget labor in that as well. I think it's important to have labor at the table, and that is exactly what we discussed yesterday morning, and I think we'll be approaching government on that basis. I think what will get us through here is sort of a more analytical approach, a more scientific approach. I think calm and measured heads and working together. I think South Africans do work well when our backs are to the wall.
China has been often mentioned as a likely savior, but although they'll take our imports, but it's quid pro quo, they don't want tariffs on their goods, even as they're offering zero for ours.
So I think a number of us in business have had concerns around the trade patterns with some of our bigger trading partners, and certainly China is one of those countries. And China have made historically commitments to procure manufactured goods from South Africa, but it's just not happening at the rate and extent it ought to be happening. So I think we need to reopen up those discussions. And Deputy President Mashatile, in his recent visit 3 weeks ago, I think made that point to his Chinese counterparts. But now we need follow through on all of these things. The Middle East is a very important geography for us. Saudi, Qatar, UAE, very important markets, and we need to double down our efforts in the Middle East as well. Latin America provides opportunities. So these are the areas we need to have a coordinated, coherent strategy around that is properly resourced. I keep referring to this issue of capacity and resource. There's just too much at stake not to provide the appropriate capacity and resource to execute on these things.
And the president, of course, mentioned our own continent yesterday. Finally, how do you deal, because you're saying there's still a little bit of road as far as the negotiations are concerned, but how do you deal with a capricious interlocutor like Donald Trump? And more broadly, is the U.S. a reliable partner? I used the India-Russia oil earlier in the program. The Biden administration told the Indians to buy. Now Trump wants to punish them for doing exactly that.
So, look, I don't want to be drawn into whether they're capricious or not. I think what's important to recognize is that they are a very big market and an important market for us. And I think we probably need to concretely address one or two of the policy issues that are being thrown at us, because I think if you do an analysis on
which one specifically
on the tariffs, I think addressing areas like farm murders, for example. I think those are areas that are of concern to the 47th administration, and I think we ought to be doing that anyway as a country. So there's very little to lose. So as we negotiate tariffs and renegotiate our position, perhaps alongside that and in parallel, we should be looking at some of the policy concerns, and those particularly that we have flexibility around.
Seems to me we've given them a lot of information they just don't want to hear, but I appreciate your time, Dr. Stavros Nicolaou, BRICS Business Council member.
EWN Traffic.
This Eyewitness News Traffic is brought to you by OUTsurance in partnership with 702. Amo?
Bongani, in Melrose, there's been an accident on the M1 North. It happened right near Kole Drivers, causing heavy delays coming out of the Kilani bends. Traffic is also backed up on the M1 South approaching the scene. Please be on the lookout there. I'll have more details coming up shortly.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Phone Assurance, get a quote and see what they can offer you. If you don't save that 321 like I did, you might get a 500 or $1,000 back. Service and savings, you'll always get something out.
How is it that Outsurance provided the solution for you?
918 Rand is what I'm saving.
Incredible. What brought you and Outsurance together?
718 Rand. I end up saving.
They gave you the real deal.
It literally is the real deal.
Go to outsurance.co.za now for a 10-minute quote that could save you thousands. Licensed insurer and FSP. T's, C's and information online.
EWN Business.
Of course, talking about the tariff issue, Muteo Kharipe, because as you've just heard, even though we're told calm heads need to prevail, there is still quite a lot at risk. I think the Trade Department saying could be as many as 30,000 jobs at risk.
Yeah, the government will grant exporters a temporary buffer from higher trade duties as part of a broader relief package unveiled on Monday in response to the unilateral 30% US tariff due to take effect this week. This will include a block exemption, which allows competing exporters to coordinate infrastructure, logistics, and market information without fear of being prosecuted for collusion. Trade and Industry Minister Pakstau says his department would be sharing a set of more detailed proposals on South Africa's tariff response package with Cabinet later this week. The block exemption will be added to the Export Support Desk and the 340 million rand localization support fund as measures to cushion the impact of tariffs. The Department of Trade and Industry and Competition says after consultations with sectors like agriculture and the automotive sector, approximately 30,000 jobs could be affected by the higher tariff regime. South Africa says it is considering diversifying its markets, but those remain medium to long-term opportunities.
I've just mentioned this India-Russia oil issue, and yeah, Delhi doesn't like it.
Not at all. India says it's being unfairly targeted by Western powers. India's External Affairs Ministry says the country faces higher tariffs over its purchases of Russian oil. U.S. President Donald Trump are threatening to substantially raise tariffs on India, although the level of the duties have not been announced. According to the International Energy Agency, about 70% of Russian crude oil was exported to India in 2024. Of course, Russia has had to find new markets after being sanctioned for invading Ukraine. India's government pointed out that the EU and the US also have trade relations with Moscow well into the billions of dollars.
Is the rand?
17 Rand 94 against the US dollar, 20 Rand 73 against the euro, and a 23 Rand 82 cents against the British pound. Price of gold flat this morning, $3,368 an ounce, or platinum is also lower at $1,320. Brent crude at $68.67 a barrel. More business after 8.
Pay back the money. Pay back the money. I mean, that's essentially what the EFF are saying. Is it not? Sfiso Zulu, good morning.
That's right, Bongani. Good morning. The Red Berets in Gauteng wants the ANC to reimburse the city of Ekurhuleni for its 3-day use of municipal facilities to hold its National Executive Committee meeting. The meeting took place at the Germiston Civic Centre and the Ekurhuleni City Council over the weekend. And while the party usually convenes its NEC meetings at the Birchwood Hotel in Boksburg, EWN understands it was unable to do so this time around due to financial constraints. The EFF's Dumsani Baleni says using government facilities for party use is an abuse of state resources.
The EFF in Gauteng demands accountability from the city of Ekurhuleni for allowing this abuse of municipal property. The institutions entrusted with the custodianship of council and its properties must give a detailed explanation of this situation, including the possible flouting of the booking policies. Because this ANC-NEC meeting was moved from one venue to another, with the Civic Centre utilized in the last minute.
The Judicial Commission of Inquiry into TRC cases says it will make an official call for submissions from the public within the next 10 to 14 days. The commission which will probe allegations regarding efforts or attempts to stop the investigation or prosecution of Truth and Reconciliation Commission cases, started its work on Friday. It's been given 6 months to complete the work and is expected to travel to several provinces for hearings similar to the TRC. Spokesperson Lionel Adenhoff says submissions from the public will inform the Commission's next move in terms of travel.
I also need to make it very, very clear that this is not a rerun of the TRC. The Commission has a very particular purpose, and we will be guided by the submissions that we have received and the need then to move around.
And India has called on U.S. President Donald Trump's threats of higher tariffs over its purchase of oil from Russia unjustified and unreasonable. Trump has warned that he will raise levies, saying India does not care about the people who have been killed in Ukraine by Russia in the 3-year conflict. India is currently among the largest buyers of Russian oil and has become an important export market for Moscow after several European countries cut trade when Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Trump has not specified what the new tariff would be, but it comes days after he unveiled a hefty 25% levy on India. A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures are at lows of 2 and 6 degrees, peaking at highs between 21 and 23.
There's an accident scene in Melrose along the M1 North near Coiler Drive. Delays from the Kilani Bends. There's also queuing traffic on the M1 South coming out of Greyston Drive while traveling towards Fourways. Bumper-to-bumper traffic on the N1 North between Malibongwe Drive and Winnie Mandela Drive.
The top story this hour, the EFF wants the ANC to reimburse the city of Ekurhuleni for its 3-day use of municipal facilities to hold its NEC meeting.
It all starts with advice from FNB Private. Because the perfect overseas trip starts with planning. Save and spend in multiple currencies with your FNB Global account and lock in exchange rates. Enjoy up to 40% off flights with eBucks Travel and order Forex on the FNB app delivered to you at no extra cost. Your adventure awaits. Unlock invaluable with FNB Private. Help changes everything. FNB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized FSP and credit provider. TC's earn rules and limits apply.
Don't miss out on the Powerball jackpot, estimated at a mind-blowing 124 million rand this Tuesday. Dare to dream big by playing Powerball now for an estimated 124 million rand jackpot. What would you do with it, KG? Hey? It's your chance at multi-millions. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529 hash for USSD. Panda, Pusha, Play. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. Ituba is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
So we did a thing, a full commitment kind of thing. We've partnered with Sixt to bring worldwide to your doorstep. So you see how that's a serious thing, because that's what you deserve. We know you're the GOAT. So, premium it is. Premium service, premium vehicles, premium you, premium us. Sani Sixt is all about adding extra to ordinary. Extra reach, extra countries, so you can be extra premium worldwide. Be the greatest of all time and rent Sani Sixt.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Good morning, Bongani. Now that Trump finally hit us with the tariffs, I wonder how does the AfriForum feels about the peddlers' lies that they spread about South Africa being the farmers being genocide in South Africa. I just wonder how they feel now about what they were peddling about South Africa, because now this tariff is going to affect the same businesses that is funding them, the same farmers that they were thinking that they were advocating for them.
Good morning, Bongani. I hope that you're well. I know we're worried about tariffs, but I think we also have so many problems internally that we need to look at. I know someone who's been trying to bring in machinery, and SARS has been delaying the process by about 2 weeks. So just because of storage fees for a container, I know someone that's paid about 160,000 Rand over 2 weeks, while SARS seems to be just trying to make money for themselves and other state institutions. So maybe we just also need to look at state inefficiencies, and that is how that's preventing small businesses from actually growing the economy and creating jobs.
Morning, Bongani. Surely if there were alternative markets available, we would already be selling to them. If you have an available customer for a product, you sell to them. Those markets are already being serviced by other countries and by other suppliers. So we would have to undercut those suppliers that they currently have for us to get into those markets. Maybe that's possible, but it's still not a good scenario for our exporters. We need the US. We're going to suffer without them. This is the ANC's doing, and South Africa are going to pay the price, unfortunately.
Perhaps Safa is putting it strongly because, as you heard, in terms of our total percentage of exports, the US market accounts for 8%. And yes, that is not to be sneezed at. But at the same time, I'm not sure if it's quite as calamitous as some might want us to believe. And it's not to suggest, by the way, that that market will be lost entirely. Perhaps some of it will, but I don't think we'll lose all of it. And you can bet many businesses would have made contingency plans to get their products in the US, at least in the interim, before these tariffs bite. They would have been pushing to make sure by the deadline, as much of their product is in the US as possible so as to not suffer the immediate consequences of this. I would imagine that's a possibility. As Stavros Nikolaou said, the road, there's still a little bit of light. And if you listen to him carefully, there were a couple of questions that he kind of answered without really answering. I asked him, for example, do you think we could have had better negotiators should the private sector be in the room as part of those negotiations? And he was quick to point out how much he respects what the government has done. Now, if you're a private sector representative wanting to be in that room, you're not about to criticize the people who've been doing it and tell us that they failed, wink, wink. I then asked him, how do you deal with Trump and even, I suppose, the American political system? Because one day the Democrats are telling you to do this, the next the Republicans want to punish you for doing the thing that the previous administration told you. And he said, well, I wouldn't call them capricious, right? That very much sounds like somebody who's being very careful about what he says because he might be in the room when those conversations are happening. And if nothing else, that gives me hope.
702.
What's the question?
What's the question is brought to you by OUTsurance, and it's your chance for you to win up to 3,000 Rand in cash. So first 1,000 for the answer and then 2,000 Rand for the person who gives us the question. SMS out to 45142 now. You could save on your car insurance. Let's go to Morena in Soweto. Morena, what's today's answer?
Hello, Bongani. Today's answer is 25 years.
And tell me, do you have a quote from OUTsurance, Morena?
Yes, I do have.
Your biscuit, 1,000 Rand is coming your way, all thanks to 702 and OUTsurance. So, if Morena says the answer is 25 years, what's the question? Call us on 011 883 0702.
EWN Sport.
All right, let's get straight into the world of sport. Cindy Paluta, it's always exciting when the Proteas go down under.
It is.
What are they doing? Is there a test series?
Yeah. No. They're playing Australia. It's a couple of T20s and some ODIs. It starts this Sunday. The series being played in smaller venues like Darwin, Cairns and Mackay. Aidan Markram, on what he expects from the conditions there.
Not many of us have played at those venues. It's a challenge in terms of preparation as to what we can expect, but probably just more important for us to be able to assess it as quick as we can after a couple of balls and plan the way forward from there. So no preconceived ideas. We'll tackle it head on game day. And
what an hour of cricket yesterday. India getting the 5 wickets needed. England unable to score the 35 runs as India won by a narrow 6 runs to avoid a series defeat. In rugby, the Lions have signed the junior Bucks superstar Batobele Hlekane for next season. The Lions had been in a tug-of-war with Sharks for his services. Australia coach Joe Schmidt expects to name his rugby championship squad in the next day or so. The team heads to South Africa on Thursday. Nick White could be included in the pack despite him announcing his retirement as Jake Gordon is injured. Also expected to be in the side will be Will Skelton, who hasn't played in the Rugby Championship in 2 years. The Wallabies play the Bucks in the opening game at Ellis Park on the 16th of August. In tennis, Novak Djokovic has withdrawn from the Cincinnati Open for the second consecutive year, a warm-up tournament for the US Open. That starts on the 24th. And on the women's side in Montreal, Rybakina through to the semi-finals after her opponent Kostyuk retired hurt. Rybakina will play teenager Mboko, who beat Monero in straight sets. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
4:08 on the nose. This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Opel Grandland. With smart tech and striking design, it's German engineering on a grand scale. Test drive one today at your nearest Opel dealer. that heavy traffic on the M1 North is still a challenge. Amo?
It is indeed, Bongani, coming out of Boyson's Road all the way towards Coilet Drive due to multiple reasons like peak time delays towards Empire Road, and then of course that accident reported in the Melrose area at Coilet Drive causing those delays coming out of the Kilani Bends. The M1 South also backed up coming out of the Baku interchange towards Coilet Drive. Please be on the lookout there and drive with care. If you're traveling in the Alberton Marysville area, bumper to bumper traffic as well along the R59 North between Klipprivier Drive and Nelson Mandela Avenue. That's due to an accident as well, and another one reported on the N12 East. This is approaching Xavier Street just as you come out of the Uncle Charlie's interchange. Please drive with care. I'll have more updates for you. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Great entrance? Forget that. Make a grand entrance. Grand! Be late, make everyone wait, and be grateful they did. Peeps be rubbernecking, staring gormlessly like deer in your 50,000 intelligent LED headlights. Grand! Make a grand entrance in the new Opel Grandland, designed and made in Germany. Achtung, baby. Grand! It's even got massage seats. Opel Grand! Visit opel.co.za for more.
I love it. Corporates that care promotes and encourages corporate leaders and all citizens to walk the talk for a better South Africa. So catch it this Wednesday, 10 to 9. We're talking to Transnet CEO, Advocate Michelle Phillips. We do this on Wednesdays to highlight efforts of companies and brands that are dedicated to building our country. Corporates That Care is a Prime Media Cares initiative with 702 and Prime Media Outdoor. 702, let's walk the talk and together make a difference.
My family's struggling with snotty noses and phlegmy coughs.
Oh no! Have you tried ACC?
ACC 600 is a convenient one-a-day effervescent tablet from 14 years of age, or now also in a no-water-needed, fruity-flavored sherbet-like granules that dissolve in your mouth. Ideal for the on-the-go adult. Ask for ACC 600 effervescent or oral powder at your nearest pharmacy to get rid of the snotties and flemmings. And trust, if it doesn't say ACC, it's not ACC.
Welcome to Nando's Customer Care. How can I help you?
Finally, can I actually just speak to the manager? It's about the chicken. Why did you marinate it for 24 hours? 24 hours, yes, 86,400 seconds to marinate. Why? Well, I mean, it is really tender, juicy, and that delicious Nando's peri-peri flavor just warms me up. And then you add any 3 sharing sides, and I guess, well, there is nothing like it. But that is my complaint. I can't complain.
Nando's, fire it up.
Shisanyama isn't just food, it's culture. The smoke, the sound, the flavor. It's where stories are shared, music flows, grills stay hot until sundown. In fact, long after sundown. Whether it's your weekend tradition, your family's gathering spot, or simply a taste of home, these places bring people together in the most delicious way. Is there one that you know delivers on vibe and flavor? Well, now's your chance to say, I see you. Nominate your favorite for Gauteng's greatest Shisanyama at primemediaplus.com, because Gauteng isn't just a hub of business, it is the home of excellence. Excellence deserves your applause. Gauteng's greatest awards with 702, powered by Yoko. Let Yoko counterfuel your business to greatness. Go to yoko.com to explore the new point of sale solution, saving hundreds of businesses time and money.
702.
What's the question?
For 2,000 Rand in cash, all thanks to AARTO. Please tell me what's the question. If the answer is 25 years. Let's go to Lufuno in Arcadia. Lufuno, what's the question?
Morning, Bongani. The question is, how long was ShopRite operating in Malawi before they stopped operations in that country?
Yeah, isn't it interesting how so many South African businesses that do well here eventually pull out of the other countries as they try to expand on the continent? That is absolutely right, Lufuno. Tell me, have you got yourself a quote from OUTsurance?
Yes, I have a life cover with OUTsurance, and I think my car is also insured.
Look at you, look at you. How about 2,000 Rand coming your way? All thanks to OUTsurance and 702. Congratulations, Lufuno. Yes, indeed, ShopRite, after 25 years, is pulling out.
OUTsurance will do all they can to save you money on your car insurance premium. But what if they just can't? Well, they'll give you cash just for trying. That's right. Just ask for 500 Rand cash. But wait, there's more. If you don't save and have been claim-free and with the same insurer for 3 years, you can ask for 1,500 Rand cash. Savings or cash, you always get something out.
Go to outsurance.co.za now for a 10-minute quote that could save you thousands.
What does you always get something out mean to you, Lorette?
Outsurance made it possible for us to live our dream to travel more with the money in our pocket that we save.
Let me know, what is it?
725. It was unbelievable. My husband, he sits there on the chair and he's just nodding his head and say, yes, yes, yes. This is really not just an advertisement. This is really real.
Go to outsurance.co.za now for a 10-minute quote that could save you thousands. Licensed insurer and FSP. T's, C's and information online.
Did you know that the CSIR International Convention Center has over 40 years' experience in hosting international, local, and national business events? Located on a tranquil campus in Pretoria East, within the Knowledge Hub and Science Diplomacy capital, the city of Tshwane, it's a fit-for-purpose convention center, and it's ideal for your association, congress, or other business events. For more information, visit csiricc.co.za. The CSIR International Convention Center, where smart minds meet.
Tani Esther, or should I say the Tupperware Tani? How's business going?
Business is booming. I've been operating out of the boot of my car for 10 years, but shame, it couldn't keep up with my growing empire.
Okay, so you sold it to We Buy Cars?
Yes, quick. Sold my old one, bought a bigger one. I even sold some of my Tupperware to the friendly guy who picked up my car.
Stick to what you know best, eh, Tony?
Excuse me?
Never mind. We Buy Cars. Geared for your business, geared for you.
In a world where everything is instant, some things are worth slowing down for. You took the time to build a life of distinction. Every moment, every milestone, every decision. At Indwe, we take the time to understand your world and craft insurance solutions to protect it. Because true peace of mind is the greatest luxury of all. The right insurance starts with a conversation. It starts with helloindwe.co.za. Indwe Risk Services is an authorized financial services provider.
702.
What's gone viral?
With Kabazela.
All right, let's catch up now with the world of viral content. Kabazela.
Good morning to you, Belle.
You smell nice.
And I mean, you go out into the world sometimes and you can smell people's perfumes or colognes and you're like, oh, that smells nice. I wonder what it is. Or sometimes you recognize the smell, right? So this couple was sitting at the table with some of their friends, and these ladies had walked in and sat down at a table behind them, and they all were like, oh, they smell so beautiful, they smell divine. And their husband was like, well, I'll go and ask them what they're wearing. So he gets up in the restaurant, goes to their table and says, excuse me, the ladies at the table say you smell so nice, what are you wearing? And they tell him what they're wearing, and it is called Guidance 46 by Ombrage. I think that's how you pronounce it. I've never heard of it before. But before you get too excited and think, I must go and buy this perfume, it's 10,000 Rand here in South Africa is how much it costs to wear this perfume. Or, I think it's unisex as well. So, I mean, geez, if you're going to buy a perfume or cologne that costs 10,000 Rand, you do want strangers coming up to you, I suppose, and saying, what are you wearing? Right? So I wanted to ask our 702 family this morning, what is that perfume or cologne that you wear that gets the most attention from people, number one? And have you ever gone up to a stranger and asked them a random question that, has to do with something that you were curious about? And what was it?
I love fragrances. I don't know if it's quite the same question, but I'll answer it in this way, Kabazela. I'm wearing probably my favorite fragrance at the moment. It's the Mont Blanc Legend. And it's one that I wear because my mother once gave it to me as a birthday gift, and I had never come across this thing. And she'd gone, I think it was Red Square Edgar's, and she'd asked the ladies, what gift can I get for a man who likes this kind of thing? And that's what they recommended. This was years and years and years ago. I still wear it. And for me, I wear it almost for good luck at times. If I feel like I need a bit of a lift.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, I love the smell. It's gorgeous. But I almost wear it more for luck because my mom is the one who introduced me to it. So that's my relationship with the Mont Blanc Legend, the black one specifically.
Yes. I must
All right.
go smell it. I haven't smelt it on you before. Not even on Saturday night.
That's because you are home and I'm here. But come sniff away. All right, let's talk about the Insta baddie.
Yeah, this is quite a funny one. So I'm not in the dating field and haven't been in a very long time, but I think if I was, it would be quite scary because of all these filters and stuff that you can put on photos. So this guy's paging through Instagram on this woman's photos, and he's left, right, and he's seeing all these photos. And then he pans towards her who's standing in front of him, and she looks nothing like her pictures at all. So it's a thing, you might think you're going to meet somebody, you do, you meet them in person, and then you think, well, who's this? That's not you. And because of the filters. So I want to ask, if you're in the dating game and you have experienced this, what happened? Did you braze it with the person and say, oh, well, you don't really look like your photos because of the filters? It's a thing. And do you filter your photos? I mean, these filters can make you look like there's one on TikTok called Bold Glamour. It makes you look like a movie star, hey? But then when you meet people, they'll be like, but that's not you.
Ooh, that's so awkward.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so awkward. And for me, this is why it's pointless to do that, because people will eventually meet you. And if you don't look like, oh, no, man.
Yeah.
No, man. All right. Have you been on a date with someone you were meeting for the first time and who showed up in front of you wasn't quite the person you'd swiped right for? Let us know.
702. Feedback
with Rupfiwa Kone.
Rupfiwa Kone in the hot seat. You can smell my Mont Blanc legend. Right? Yeah. You were wondering. You're wondering what that was.
What was that beautiful scent, Bongani?
All right, let's talk feedback. Do you have a fragrance or a perfume that gets you attention?
I haven't.
Even
really
if it's from
gotten-
Mr. Kone. Because I can see your mind going, no.
I don't want to say that,
Bongani.
Nobody should be that close, Bongani.
Plead the fifth.
But Gucci Bloom is quite a nice one.
Okay.
Yeah, also smells quite good, Bongani.
All right, feedback. What are people saying?
Well, Bongani, listeners are reacting to your big interview, saying that it is also a wake-up call for us in SA to diversify our trade and partnerships and reduce over-reliance on a single global power, finding alternative markets, especially within BRICS.
There was that voice note that, I mean, we didn't get time to go through all the questions, but certainly one of the questions I had wanted to pose to our guest was this idea: if there were markets that were ready to receive all our products, well, you betcha, businesses are in business to make money. They would have long accessed those markets. But Dr. Nicolau did also stress that perhaps we need other exchanges to leverage, what we've already got to allow some of these exporters to then get in those markets. Conversations certainly need to continue.
Absolutely, Bongani. Listeners are also reacting to the demerit system. They are certainly not happy. They haven't been happy since yesterday when we had that discussion as well. They believe that traffic officers will also find a way to solicit more bribes out of this system.
Because can you imagine you are on your last infraction or infringement, right? And one more strike, your license is suspended. How desperate are you going to be to make sure that you have Coke on hand,
Cold
right?
drink,
Cold drink for the traffic officer. So, I mean, I think there's still some issues around how this is all going to be implemented. I also asked a question, and I'm wondering if listeners have responded to this one, Rafiwa. This marriage thing. And I thought, gosh, right, was coming out of the 7 o'clock news. The Home Affairs Portfolio Committee are having public hearings in the Northern Cape. And residents are saying, firstly, this nonsense, and they're calling it that, of kids under 18 being allowed to marry just because their parents consent to it is rubbish.
It is rubbish, Bongani.
Right?
And listeners are agreeing with you, Bongani. They argue that often young people lack the necessary life experience, self-awareness, understanding of their own bodies, needs, desires,
personalities.
And it's such a huge decision
for such young people to be trusted with in the first place.
I mean, at 18, what do you remember who you liked at 18?
I don't want to remember who I liked.
Right? You liked their sneakers.
Yeah.
Their big
clothes.
jackets. You know, the way they walk. Right?
Surface things.
Those are not things on which you can build a life. What are your thoughts? Should we raise the legal age to wed? I mean, even 21, to be quite honest, but fine. At least 21. Right? Should we raise the legal age for marriage? Because what do kids know? Let's talk. It's 8 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Public Protector says it's not in talks with Zimbabwean authorities about South Africa's health services, and the ANC is open to having more GNU partners. Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. The Office of the Public Protector has rubbished claims that it's in talks with the Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission over concerns that foreign nationals are being denied healthcare services in South Africa. This follows a run in between some lobby groups such as Operation Dudula, some political parties and foreign nationals at hospitals and clinics. Operation Dudula is among groups that say foreign nationals are putting strain on the country's stretched resources. Reports emerged over the weekend that the Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission, which plays the role of public protector in that country, had lodged a formal complaint with its counterpart in South Africa. But the public protector's acting spokesperson, Dilim Soki, says the Section 9 institution hosted a ZHRC delegation last year, but on matters unrelated to the barring of Zimbabweans from South Africa's facilities.
The visit covered several issues commonly shared between institutions with a similar mandate, including but not limited to best practices within the environment, corruption, as well as challenges relating to service delivery in both countries, among those being healthcare systems.
Msoki says the public protector shared best practices to help strengthen the commission institutional capacity.
At no point did the discussions then nor recently focus on the denial of Zimbabwean nationals access to healthcare services in South Africa. We are therefore surprised by reports in the media about discussions which purportedly occurred recently and were centered around matters relating to Zimbabwean nationals being denied access to healthcare services in South Africa. Neither do we have record of a complaint of that kind.
It's emerged that 4 of the nearly 500 illegal miners arrested during a police raid at Mpumalanga mine were children. The suspects appeared in the Barberton Magistrates Court yesterday. 26 South Africans with confirmed addresses were granted bail of 2,000 rand each. The case against the rest has been postponed to next Monday. Mongezi Koko reports.
Friday's raid, part of the National Vanumgodi crackdown, is being described as one of the biggest illegal mining busts in recent years. Nearly 500 people were flushed out from underground, suspects from as far as Mozambique and Eswatini among them. Police also seized gold-bearing material, mining tools and even a firearm. The 4 juveniles will be dealt with in terms of the Child Justice Act, a process that focuses on rehabilitation rather than punitive sentencing. NPA's Monica Nyuswa says it will be challenging for all the accused to be granted bail.
So most of the accused, since they are coming from different countries, some are coming from Mozambique, some are coming from Zimbabwe, they were all denied, not that they were denied bail, but they were remanded in custody.
Meanwhile, authorities expect more illegal miners to surface in the coming days, including the 24 who resurfaced yesterday after spending the weekend underground. Mongezi Koko, Eyewitness News, Barberton.
The ANC has recommitted itself to the GNU and says it's going to start a process of expanding the number of political parties in the coalition. Its National Executive Committee concluded a 4-day meeting at the Germiston Civil Hall yesterday. It was the first time that the NEC meeting since the chaotic national budget process, which threatened to tear the GNU apart. ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa says issues in the coalition have not changed the party's stance that setting up the GNU was the country's best option after it lost its majority.
The National Executive Committee identified a number of areas in which there is substantial progress on the work of the GNU over the past 12 months. Within Parliament, the ANC has adapted to the complexity of operating in the new political landscape where it no longer holds a majority.
And lawyers for the family of Zambia's former head of state, Edna Lungu, have argued that it would be undignified for the courts to force the family to allow the country's current president to preside over his funeral. Lungu's family and the Zambian government battled it out yesterday in the Pretoria High Court over where the former president should be laid to rest. The former president died in June while receiving medical attention in South Africa, but his family wants him to be buried in South Africa in order to avoid the country's president, Hakainde Hichilema, being involved in proceedings. Khomotso Modisa reports.
Edgar Lungu's family says it does not want Zambia's president, Hakainde Hichilema, to be involved in the former president's funeral because of how he was treated by his government. In 2023, Lungu was stripped of his presidential perks and retirement benefits when he returned to active politics. His family now wants the Pretoria High Court to rule that he be laid to rest in South Africa. However, the government's lawyers have argued that an agreement was reached by the family and the state that stated that Lungu's remains would be repatriated and allowed President Hichilema to be present at the funeral and welcome dignitaries. The court will now have to determine whether Lungu will be buried in South Africa or if a repatriation and state funeral in Zambia will be prepared. Khomza Modise, Eyewitness News.
Gold is trading at $3,372.33 an ounce. The rand is at 17.93 to the dollar, 23.82 to the pound, 20.72 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $68.66 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got heavy delays along Malibongwe Drive through Kayas and all the way towards North Riding, as well as Northumberland Avenue towards Malibongwe. That's due to a major accident scene that's causing those massive queues. If you can, please try to avoid. While traveling on the R59 North, we're still experiencing major traffic volumes. This is between Klipprivier Drive and Nelson Mandela Avenue, also due to an accident.
And in your sport, Liverpool wraps up 2 easy wins over Athletic Bilbao in the pre-season preparation matches. The Proteas are in Australia ahead of the limited over series starting Sunday. The Lions beat the Sharks to signing junior box star Lekane for next season. And Novak Djokovic has withdrawn from the Cincinnati Open.
A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 21 and 23 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. The Office of the Public Protector has rubbished claims that it's in talks with the Zimbabwean Human Rights Commission over concerns that foreign nationals are being denied health care in South Africa.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
8 minutes after 8 o'clock, the public protector rubbishing claims that it is in any talks with Zimbabwe's Human Rights Commission over concerns that foreign nationals are being denied healthcare here in South Africa. If anything, I think it's our Human Rights Commission that wants to take some action around this because they want to prevent groupings like Operation Dudula from preventing foreign nationals from accessing healthcare in South Africa. And it's just, do you ever have those moments where you just think there's so much going on? Yesterday, we spoke on our show on 702 Breakfast about the dysfunction in municipalities where people, officials and politicians who get in the way of these tenders are removed through murder, right? Yesterday, John Perlman was talking about, he and Stephen were talking about the price of gold, which no doubt you've been keeping an eye on. It's at record highs. And yet there are mining operations that are having to lose workers because of how much gold is lost due to illegal mining. Right? Now, in both those examples, you do know the political class is involved. That's why there isn't the strong will to deal with either of those crises. And both of them are crises. And now, this issue of foreign nationals and access to healthcare, again, we're just looking the other way.
There's absolutely no way something like that happens and no one at the top knows about it. Because you think about border entries, facilitating the movement of more than 1,000 people into a gold mine. Somebody's got to know along the way, and somebody's got to look the other way because either they're taking money or they directly benefiting from it.
One of my favorite carte blanche producers is a producer called Nikki Troll. She did a story about, I think it could be about 3-4 years ago, where she was she was at a legitimate mine, and there were these giant excavators. Because I think sometimes we have this picture of zamazamas with their little, hammers trying to dig and scrape. No. There were these excavators at a legitimate mining operation that did not belong to the mining company. That's how brazen they were. These massive gandas, I don't know what else you call them in English. And this was exposed in carte blanche. Are you telling me crime intelligence or whoever it is that would have been looking at that kind of thing didn't know? There are powerful vested interests that turn the other way. And I think we've got quite a few problems in that regard. Kamazela wants to know, what perfume or cologne gets you the most attention? And have you gone up to a stranger before and said, what are you wearing? Isn't that how you phrase it elegantly? Hey, what are you wearing? Do you have a favorite fragrance, Mateo? The one that gives you the edge, like Wits?
It's Terre d'Hermès from Hermès. But very, very costly. I've only owned it once. And even then, I was not generous when I sprayed it. So yeah, it's one of those that I know when I wear it.
You are the man. You are the man. Lulama is in Sandton. You want to talk about fragrances. Good morning.
Hello, Bongos and team. So the issue of, when you are wearing an expensive fragrance, you actually don't want to necessarily tell people, about it, or even, out there looking out for compliments necessarily. It's the same WhatsApp group as pulling rank, You don't want to be pulling rank. So just be humble, and humility will pull rank for you.
Do you know what I say about proper fragrances, Lulama?
Yeah.
They are come-dozers. You must be close enough. Only those that are close enough should be able to smell them. Right?
There you go.
Right? You don't want an advert. An expensive fragrance whispers. It doesn't shout.
Thank you. And that's why. And similarly so. Absolutely. Touche. And that's exactly why you wouldn't want to pull rank, Yeah. You're humble, you know your story. Humility just does the job for you.
There we go.
Just get on with it.
I love it. Thank you for the call. Lulama is in Sandton. Sipo wants to respond to this marriage question, and I really think it's one worth considering. At the age of 18, could you have got married, Sipo?
Yes, I could. Bongani, how are you?
Very well, thank you. Go ahead.
Yes, you know what I'm saying. Yeah, I heard you talking about it. This thing. It's not. We don't have to negotiate and wait for home affairs and what. Even if the family is poor, they should not actually let a child get married at the age of 13 without even pursuing his career, without doing what. And what is the age of a man he's marrying to? Because he cannot be married to another 18-year boy. If he's marrying to a 40-year-old man, a child of 18 years, then I think that must not even be negotiated. It must change. And it must be according to the willingness of the child that, yes, I'm ready to get married. This parents, even if they are poor, no, that's not going to work for the child, no future for the child.
Absolutely. I couldn't put it better myself, Sipo. The idea that, because legally, the marriage age is 18, but even if you are under 18, and I'm not quite sure what the exceptions are, I certainly can't be 13, but I think maybe perhaps you're about to turn 18 or something of that sort, you need parental consent. And the folks in Kimberley at these portfolio hearings, these Home Affairs Committee hearings, were saying that's nonsense. I don't care if your parents agree. You can't get married at 17. Muteo, do you remember who you liked at 18?
Barely, but even then, I don't think I was in the right frame of mind.
What did you like about an 18-year-old or the other 18-year-olds that you liked at the time?
But also, Bongani, you haven't explored much in your life. You get to varsity and your mind is blown away.
That's my point.
No, I don't think the life experience doesn't allow you to get married at that age.
You liked the way she did her hair.
And that
right?
T-shirt that she has.
That was paid for and bought off by her
the
parents.
You liked the way she danced at the party. You know? I mean, at 18, what do you know about the world? About yourself? Right? You don't, I mean, certainly where I come from, we didn't even know how to drive a car.
Many 18-year-olds
At
will
18.
tell you they know quite a lot at 18.
No. Listen, I have a 16-year-old. I know all of that.
Good morning, Bongani and team. We should absolutely raise the age of marriage to at least 21. There's a study that says that your brain is not fully developed until the age of 25. So I don't know how an 18-year-old could take such a huge life-changing decision, even if a parent consents. It's not to for the betterment or the better of the child, to better the child's life. So absolutely agree with raising of the age of marriage.
I think even at 25, sometimes 30, you still don't really know yourself, let alone who you should marry. No, that type of commitment. We should really rethink what we teach our children in terms of marriage and when to get married and who to get married to. And this is not just the musings of a divorced single mom, but it's really, I've got 3 children, 3 daughters, and no. They should wait until they understand themselves and the person that they're getting married to better.
Morning, Bongani, Peter here. In 3 years' time, in less than 3 years' time, my daughter will be 18 years old. Over my dead body will she get married then. But now, on the other hand, I got married when I was 23. I'm now married for 22 years. And I must tell you, at 23, looking back, I was pretty dumb and naive myself. And I think it's by the grace of God that things worked out great. And we've got 2 beautiful daughters. So I don't exactly know where the answer lies. But I fully agree with you. There are so much that you simply don't know and understand at that fragile age.
So I met my husband when I was 17, and it's now 20 years later, and we're still together, but we only got married at 29. So we definitely waited and knew that we wanted to be together. But at 18, you definitely don't know.
Morning, Mr. Bingwa. Then it means, Mr. Bingwa, even 18, they mustn't vote. If you are saying they can't take decisions at 18 to get married, then it means even when it comes to voting, it must be the same, because they can't choose which one is the one party that they can help them.
Have you seen the parties most 18-year-olds vote for? You think the 18-year-olds that do vote generally can tell you about the manifestos of the parties they vote for, Muteo?
Some can, but my thing is...
That's why I said generally.
If you vote at 18, you can change your mind in 5 years.
Do you know what I'm saying?
You're not living with the person that you're voting for.
It's
You're
not
not
for
going
the rest
to
of your
provide
life.
for
Yeah.
them in your own house. It's not for the rest of your life that you will be staying with them.
See, I think people... and let's just be... let me phrase it another way. People come from cultures and backgrounds that support young people when they get married, sometimes have a better chance at lasting, right? I'm talking about even cultures where things like arranged marriages are a reality, where there's an incredible support system around the relationship and you've both bought into what it can be. But outside of those kinds of environments, good luck to you. Abdul, you were 18? Or she was 18, you were 21 when you got married?
Yes, I was 20, she was 18. We were married for 22 years.
What are you guys talking about? We knew what we wanted.
Yeah.
We loved each other. Why wait? She was my partner, the love of my life. Till today, she's my best friend. The important thing was we growed in our marriage. We sometimes sit and reminisce about the days when we got married, how tough it was in terms of building our home. But today we appreciate it and we have 2 daughters. What are you talking about?
Abdul, hold on. Would you concede you are one of the lucky ones?
Yeah, but I think we should not paint the brush for everybody. Let love prosper. Let children choose their partners. Yes, I agree. Below 18 might be too young, but I mean, there's a reason why we say 18. And I'm also, if you would concede that it can work as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Abdul, appreciate your call. Let love flourish, says Abdul. Mukhale, you agree? Your wife was 18 when you got married. How old were you?
Hello.
Hello, Mukhale, you're on the air. You're saying that your wife was 18 when you got married.
She was 18, I was 27. Bongani, we enjoyed 33 years of marriage, beautiful daughter, beautiful lifestyle. Absolutely, this boils down just to maturity.
Yeah? What are the rest of us getting wrong? Because some of us were older when we got married and it still didn't work.
Absolutely. You can still get it wrong marrying at 50. If you are not a marriage material, unfortunately, it's never going to work for you. But age, it doesn't have any of that. You know, it's just about maturity level, what you want and what your intentions are.
What's marriage material?
Oh, well, you know, if you are that kind of a person that's going to want to be possibly living like a single person when you are married, you are not a marriage material.
All right, Mukhale, in 4
Yes,
ways.
because there are a lot of things. Yes, absolutely. There are a lot of things that you have to put into your head and, you know, to say, you know what, I want to get settled. And once you settle, there's a lot of compromise to be done. And it's so enjoyable. I mean, everything worked very well from day one.
AJ, nothing but a number, says Mukhale in 4 ways. Colin, you're in Centurion. You want to go back to the AARTO issue. You got pulled over yesterday by the cops. What happened?
Hi, Bongani. How are you doing?
I'm very well, Colin. Go ahead.
Good, man. You know, it was interesting. I got pulled over. They had a very nice coordinated, trucks all lined up there, pulling everybody out, checking, if your fines have been paid. And then I said, no, this is my chance. Let me talk to this Metro police guy. And I said to him, listen, you know what? What I can't understand, is that if you don't have water and food at your house and your family is starving, would you go outside and start painting your house, buying? He says, no. I said, but this is what we are doing as a country. There's murder at highest rate. There's a crime all over the place. Robots not working, potholes everywhere, and now you are pulling people out to look at fines. I mean, you can check mine. I said you can go and pull out my stats out. And this guy was actually interested to listen to this, but I thought I'm going to get an extra fine, because I told him this. But this is what's wrong with the system. Now we're going to go to a point system. Now, I told him, listen, I know you are Metro Police, but you all have to coordinate and work together as a country. If you guys are all allocated to robots where they are not working, besides pulling people aside, we'll get this fixed. But no one cares. I mean, you'll be in traffic. Guys go off the yellow line, you'll see 2 cops pulling them off and giving them a fine, whereas they should be driving to the source of where the problem is and stand there at the robot and let the traffic go. We don't have a right mindset in the country. Now you're going to go to a point system? Get the basics right. It's like a simple thing of Maslow's theory of needs.
Okay, got you, Colin in Centurion. They might argue, though, that part of what they're trying to do now, because they've got all those challenges to deal with, is to move small traffic offences from the Criminal Procedure Act, from the criminal system, and make it an administrative function, precisely because they've got all of the other issues you are raising to deal with. But I take your point. There's a nightclub not too far from our studios, and we arrive here at around 4 o'clock in the morning, every day, all the time. Wink, wink, bosses. And there's a nightclub. And the other day, I was followed by an SAPS vehicle. I'm on my way to work. And they were far more interested in why I was driving alone at that hour. But we go through this strip where the nightclub is, where the street is completely blocked by e-hailing cars and patrons bumbling out of this nightclub in short skirts, their shoes passing on to another friend. People are vomiting on the street, and just a law unto themselves. But the officers were more concerned. So we had to slow down and drive through that mess. And when they came to me, I said, are you seriously going to come to me when you see what we've just driven through? And of course, they recognized who I was. And the guy sheepishly said, yeah, maybe we need to go there, hey? And they turned around and they drove off. And they didn't deal with that nightclub. Maybe it's another case, Mutel, of somebody knowing and looking away.
EWN Traffic.
25 after 8, congestion on the R59 North, Amo.
Yes, Bongani, that's due to an accident right near Swashkopies Road, causing those heavy traffic volumes coming out of Klipprivier Drive. Please be on the lookout there. While traveling on the M1 North, it's really a mess between Boyson's Road all the way from Boyson's Road towards the Grayston Drive off-ramp due to a major accident seen in the Melrose area near Corlett Drive, causing those long queues. Please be on the lookout and drive with care. I'll have another update for you. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
702.
The Worldview.
Adam Gilchrist out for the morning. Welcome back, Vicky Turner. Let's start with these hundreds of Israeli ex-officials asking Trump to end the war in Gaza.
Yeah, their appeal comes amid reports that Benjamin Netanyahu is pushing to expand military operations in Gaza as indirect ceasefire talks with Hamas have now stalled. Like you say, 600 retired Israeli security officials, including former heads of intelligence agencies, have written to the US President Donald Trump to pressure Israel to immediately end the war in Gaza. In this letter, they say it is our professional judgment that Hamas no longer poses a strategic threat to Israel, going on to say your credibility with the vast majority of Israelis augments your ability to steer the Prime Minister and his government in the right direction. I think it's a good reminder that this seems to be Benjamin Netanyahu's war. It's not really the people of Israel's war. And this just says, it's not only the civilians of Israel, but it's their former sort of people in charge that are now saying this war has to end. Polls around the world, incidentally, suggest that public opinion is increasingly negative about Israel, which is putting on pressure on the Western leaders, of course, to act. The US president has consistently, we should remember this, backed his ally, even though he publicly acknowledged last week for the first time that there was real starvation in Gaza. So we wait and see if this has any effect.
For the first time in 500 years, a Russian volcano erupts.
I'm a bit nervous about this. I'm going to try and pronounce the name of this volcano. Are you ready?
I did too.
The Krasheninnikov. I think that's how you say it. The Krasheninnikov volcano, which is in Kamchatka, threw up an ash plume. Get this, 6 kilometers high overnight. Now, the last recorded eruption of this particular volcano was in the 15th century, so 500 years ago. They think that it has erupted now because of that massive earthquake that Russia suffered on its far eastern coast last week, 8.8 on the Richter scale. We also now know that hours after the volcano erupted, there was another large earthquake in Russia, which led to further tsunami warnings in 3 areas of the peninsula, 7.7 on the Richter scale. So I'm sure more events are to follow, unfortunately, for Russia.
Vicky, I just try a very guttural, rough accent and say, Krasheninnikov.
Well, that's better than mine. I wish I'd done that now.
We'll leave it there for this morning's Worldview with Vicky Turner.
EWN Business.
Muteo Haripe, please tell me what is happening with Impala Platinum.
Is that Italian or Russian?
I'll stick to my lane. Thank you very much.
Well, Impala Platinum, the producer saw its shares drop after it recorded weaker production figures. Impala Platinum sales volumes fell by 2% to 3.3 million ounces. This includes sellable production from Impala Canada and Impala Bafokeng for the year in June. The Mining and Metal Processing Group said in a production report that US dollar commodity pricing strengthened in the year, but that was offset by a stronger rand. As a result, group sales revenue was stable at over 25,000 rand per platinum ounce.
The Trade Department saying these tariff hikes will threaten thousands of jobs.
Yeah, the government will grant exporters a temporary buffer from higher trade duties as part of a broader relief package unveiled on Monday in response to a unilateral 30% U.S. import tariff due to take effect on the 7th of August. This will include a block exemption, which allows competing exporters to coordinate logistics, infrastructure, and market information without fear of being prosecuted for collusion. The Trade and Industry Minister, Pakstau, says his department would be sharing a set of more detailed proposals on South Africa's tariff response package with Cabinet later this week. The block exemption will be added to an export support desk and a 340 million rand localization support fund as measures to cushion the impact of tariffs.
All right, where is the rand? On the decks or on the desk?
It's on the decks. It's 17 Rand 95 against the US dollar, weaker this morning at 20 Rand 72 cents against the euro. And you'll need 23 Rand 83 cents to get a British pound. Price of gold flat this morning, $3,370 an ounce. Still around those record levels though. Platinum at $1,332. Brent crude at $68.78 a barrel. That's your morning business. Stephen Krotis with more this afternoon.
Right, let's head straight to the news desk. Sviso Zulu, Uden Naidu is listening to us, he says, from the Royal Berkshire County, southeast of England. He's hoping we all have a fantastic day. What do you want to tell him at this hour?
Oh, well, thank you. Well, what I want to tell him is that the EFF in Gauteng wants the ANC to reimburse the city of Ekurhuleni for its 3-day use of municipal facilities to hold its National Executive Committee meeting. The meeting took place at the Germiston Civic Centre and the Ekurhuleni City Council over the weekend. And while the party usually convenes its NEC meetings at the Birchwood Hotel in Boksburg, EWN understands it was unable to do so this time due to financial constraints. The EFF's Dumsani Baleni says using government facilities for party usage is an abuse of state resources.
The EFF in Gauteng demands accountability from the city of Ekurhuleni for allowing this abuse of municipal property. The institutions entrusted with the custodianship of council and its properties must give a detailed explanation of this situation, including the possible flouting of the booking policies. Because this ANC NEC meeting was moved from one venue to another, with the Civic Centre utilised in the last minute.
Staying on the East Rand, 10 Ekurhuleni Metro cops and SAPS officers arrested on corruption and theft allegations will appear in the Germiston Magistrates Court today. They are accused of taking stock from a store on the East Rand during a raid for their own benefit. Police Directorate IPID spokesperson Lizzie Shupeng.
They also arrested the cashier for trading in illicit cigarettes and the other employee for violating immigration rules. It is also alleged that the accused officers failed to record all the merchandise seized from the shop at the police station. The shop manager allegedly disputed the quantity and type of merchandise booked in the occurrence book to the station commander.
The Judicial Commission of Inquiry into TRC cases says it will make an official call for submissions from the public within the next 10 to 14 days. The commission, which will probe allegations regarding efforts or attempts to stop the investigation of Truth and Reconciliation Commission cases, started its work on Friday. It's been given 6 months to complete its work and it's expected to travel to several provinces for hearings similar to the TRC. Spokesperson Lionel Adendorf says submissions from the public will inform the Commission's next move in terms of travel.
I also need to make it very, very clear that this is not a rerun of the TRC. The Commission has a very particular purpose, and we will be guided by the submissions that we have received and the need then to move around.
And India has called U.S. President Donald Trump's threats of higher tariffs over its purchase of oil from Russia unjustified and unreasonable. Trump has warned that he will raise levies, saying India does not care how many people in Ukraine are being killed by Russia in the war that's lasted for 3 years. India is currently among the largest buyers of Russian oil and has become an important export market for Moscow after several European countries cut trade when Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Trump has not specified what the new tariff would be, but it comes days after he unveiled a hefty 25% levy on India. A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 21 and 23.
And in the traffic of God, a major accident scene reported on the M1 North right near Corler Drive. It's causing heavy traffic volumes coming out of Empire Road. There's also peak time delays along this route, so please be patient. If you're traveling on the southerly direction of this road, do expect delays coming out of the Baklu interchange.
The top story this hour, the EFF in Gauteng wants the ANC to reimburse the city of Ekurhuleni for its 3-day use of municipal facilities to hold its NEC meeting.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
I'll be interested to hear what Saika has to say on this for those auditors who are working for the government in municipalities, in the public sector. A chilling effect. I mean, I've spoken at a number of fraud conferences and auditing conferences about this particular issue, and it's terrifying. And particularly the fact that people are just not being held accountable, are not being arrested, and are getting away with this.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
Celebrate Women's Day in style with exclusive platinum or golden standing tickets to see Grammy Award winners Anthony Hamilton and Joe Thomas. Enjoy complimentary seating, dedicated bar areas and restrooms, the freedom to bring your own picnic blankets for a relaxed, unforgettable experience. It's happening at the iconic DP World Wanderers Stadium in Sandton. South Africa's multi-award-winning singers Zonke, Sjava, Vusinova will all be there. Get your tickets now on CompuTicket or webtickets.co.za. Brought to you by Soulful Night, Vertex Events and 702.
The blockbuster main attraction at UFC 319 in Chicago on the 17th of August sees Dricus du Plessis take on Russia's Khamzat Chimaev. Will the South African fighter become a legend and defend his middleweight title for the third time while handing the challenger his first ever defeat? Catch all the thrilling action and be in it to win it. Bet 40 Rand or more on any UFC fights between 1 July and 17 August and stand a chance to win your share of 100,000 Rand in cash and prizes. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp HELP to 076 675 0710.
Did you ever work in the UK? If you did for at least 3 years and you're under 67, you can get a guaranteed UK state pension worth up to 5 million Rand over a typical retirement for just a small payment directly to UK revenue. Most people get 40 Rand back for every Rand they pay in. There's a big queue at UK Revenue as this opportunity may end soon, so act fast. Call Extra Pension in Cape Town or see extrapension.com. Mind your UK pension and it'll mind you. Service fees apply.
You work hard, you save what you can, but will it be enough for your retirement? For most South Africans, the answer is no. So this Thursday on 702 Breakfast, Old Mutual Corporate brings you a powerful conversation inspired by their upcoming Thought Leaders Forum, tackling the retirement crisis and the urgent need for collaborative leadership. We'll discuss how business and policymakers can join forces to change the country's retirement future. Don't miss this insightful conversation, 7th of August, brought to you by Old Mutual Corporate on 702.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
So I have a lot of thoughts around filters, and one is that women are always accused of catfishing for using filters, yet we live in a society where beauty standards are near impossible to live through, right? And even if you go to social media now, when people put their actual faces online, people bully them. Adults, I'm not talking about high school kids, I'm talking about people in their 30s, 40s and 50s, bully people for how they look, for how they don't meet society's aesthetics. And yes, I get it, you're shooting yourself in the foot if you're meeting people online and then you're going to meet them and you look hardly like your photos for sure. But I do understand why women do it. But the other side of the coin is men always accuse women of catfishing them with looks, but men constantly catfish women with character and who they say they are. But nobody speaks about that.
Bongani and Kabazela. Back in the mixed days, I once planned on meeting someone, and they looked absolutely nothing like their pictures. And as a result, while we were chatting, they were describing themselves, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, no, man, this is not the person whom I was supposed to be meeting. So I just told her that change of plans, I won't make it. We'll have to reschedule and we'll meet up some other time. And yeah, we never met.
Morning, Bongani and team. Alex here. I've done online dating, and one thing I can say is 90% of the women that I've met were not who they look like. The filters are out of this world. I'm out of that game because of that.
I thought that first voice note made me really think, right? We worry about filters for photos, but what about the filters we put on when we claim to have integrity, when we claim to have personality? I mean, if people can lie about their PhDs in the corporate world, how much of what people say they have or do is also not true on these dating apps? Huh?
EWN Sport.
Somebody who's always open about what she thinks is Cindy Paluta. Cindy, I'm going to drag you into another conversation. We were talking about, so there's the Home Affairs Committee from Parliament. They're holding these public hearings into the Marriage Act. And they went to Kimberley yesterday where people, the locals, said, we need to change the rules about the legal age of marriage. And they're saying 18 is simply too young. Now, we've had both people saying, absolutely, you know nothing of yourself at 18. And we've had some calls from people who say they got married at 18 and are still together. What are your thoughts? I think we both have 16-year-olds. Can you imagine them walking down the aisle in less than 2 years?
I hear the people that say I got married at 18 and it was right. But I'd like to hear from the people who said I got married from 18 and it was wrong, because it probably outweighs it. And I think if we just go back to the science in life and the neuroscience, and that adolescence is from 11 until 24, the frontal lobe of your brain, which helps you make rational, proper decisions, only is fully formed at the age of 24. Now, I'm not saying 24 should be the age you should be getting married, but you're only able to make proper decisions without, I mean, as adults, yes, you do make very bad decisions, etc. in your 30s, 40s, 50s, but your brain is only fully developed at 24. So how about that?
Even at 24, I don't think I would have had any idea of what I was doing. But here we are. Let's talk Liverpool.
Yes, they wrapped up.
Are they ready for the season?
They wrapped up their pre-season prep yesterday with back-to-back wins over Athletic Bilbao in a double-header at Anfield. The Reds winning 4-1 and 3-2. Reds boss Arne Slot is happy with his attacking options amidst talks they want to sign Alexander Isak from Newcastle.
No, I think there's always room for improvement in every department. Like I said, we've added a few extra weapons. So Florian has a lot of creativity in the final third. We've lost with Trent a lot of creativity from the back. So Trent's crosses and picking out runners was so special. I think Flo has this quality as well in a totally different position.
Liverpool take on Crystal Palace this Sunday in the Community Shield. The Proteas are down under ahead of their limited over series with Australia that starts this Sunday. It's preparation for next year's T20 World Cup. Aidan Markram on the conversations he's having with coach Shukri Conrad.
No deep discussions as of yet. I think we both aligned with as to how we want the team to look and play, and no hidden gems just yet, but worked with Shooks for a long time, and he's excellent at sort of unlocking the next level ability of players, and I look forward to working with him with that and unlocking more for the guys that are now in the T20 mix.
If you missed it yesterday, India beat England by a narrow 6 runs in the 5th test to draw the series. India getting the 5 wickets needed as England were unable to score 35 runs. In rugby, the Lions have signed the junior box superstar Batobele Hlekani for next season. The Lions had been in a tug-of-war with the Sharks for the players' services. And in tennis, Novak Djokovic has withdrawn from the Cincinnati Open for the 2nd consecutive year. This tournament is a warm-up for the US Open. The US Open starts on the 24th. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
Meet Uminatsi Nyaba, a powerhouse storyteller and actor graduate who earned her Bachelor of Arts in Motion Picture cum laude. From a young age, Uminatsi knew that storytelling was her calling, but financial hurdles nearly dimmed her dream. That all changed when she received the Hollywood Foundation's Future is Bright bursary. It lifted a huge weight off her shoulders and gave her the freedom to focus fully on her craft. She began making bold moves and creating incredible work, including her award-winning short film, which was selected for international screenings. Thanks to the Hollywood Foundation, Uminati is ready to tell the stories the world needs to hear. Follow the Hollywood Foundation social pages for more stories of stars on the rise. Sizofunda sonke.
At the heart of global conversations shaping the future, Africa's voice matters more than ever. As Africa's largest bank by assets and lead sponsor of the B20 summit, Standard Bank Group is proud to spotlight the continent's growth, partnerships and potential on the world stage. Through informed dialogue and powerful partnerships, Standard Bank is driving sustainable growth where it matters most. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
Vodacom's Red Hot Deals presents more value. Get the Samsung Galaxy A05s 128 gig on a Flexi 160 plan for just $179 per month over 36 months. Enhance your deal. Add 99 extra per month to get 10 gigs of data and a free Vodacom Smart Tab 8. Available in-store and online. Miss it, miss out. T's and C's apply. Red Hot Deals. Further together. Vodacom.
It's the smell of sizzling street food, the charm of handmade goods, the sound of live music floating through the air. Gauteng's food and craft markets are more than just places to shop. They're where culture, creativity, and community come alive. If there's a market that's become your Saturday ritual, your go-to for gifts, flavors, or vibes, well, now's your chance to say, I see you. Nominate your favorite for Gauteng's greatest food and craft market at primemediaplus.com, because Gauteng isn't just the hub of business, it's the home of excellence, and excellence deserves your applause. Gauteng's greatest awards with 702, powered by Yoko. Let Yoko counterfuel your business to greatness. Go to yoko.com to explore the new point of sale solution, saving hundreds of businesses time and money.
EWN Traffic.
13 to 9. Amo, let's wrap up the morning's traffic. Again, another busy day.
The M1 North, indeed, Bongani, remains a no-go area at this particular moment. Stop and go between Boyson's Road all the way towards the Grayston Drive off-ramp. This was due to a major accident right near the College Drive exit. Delays of about an hour's hold-up, so please be on the lookout there. The southerly direction of this route is also affected coming out of the Bakri interchange. While traveling in Tembisa along the R21 North, we've got road taking place right as you approach the R25 turnoff. Please be on the lookout there. I'll have more updates. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. Coming up
on the Clement Manyatela Show
on 702.
Here to tell us all about it, Clement Manyatela. What's on the show? Good morning.
Good morning. So coming up on the show today on the 702 open line, we are going to reflect on what I think is President Zuma's obsession and hatred for Cyril Ramaphosa.
Did you see Malema on Politricking with Sidi Madia saying, we keep getting told Zuma is this master chess player, but all he's done since leaving office is obsess over his successor.
That's all really he's done.
Yeah.
So I want to demonstrate it with everything that's happened. Like I remember I was on air at ENCA 4 or 5 years ago when he wrote that scathing letter to President Cyril Ramaphosa. Do you remember that?
Which channel haven't you been on?
Is that a good or a bad thing?
Asking for a friend.
So
yes,
I'm gonna play some clips from 5 years ago. What has happened since then until now?
This was the letter after President Ramaphosa said ANC is accused number one, right?
When it comes to corruption, and he was angry about that. So I want to try to demonstrate why I think so, and I want to ask the listeners if they agree or not that President Zuma is obsessed with President Cyril Ramaphosa. And then
you must play Mariah Carey. Why are you so obsessed with
You know
me?
what I wanted to play? I told Abel to play.
Yeah.
Get Over It by Boosie, featuring
Why are you
Black
so
Coffee.
obsessed with me?
So something else piqued my interest this weekend, Bongani. You may have seen it in the Sunday papers. City Press journalist contacted General Mkhwanazi and asked him about Shadrach Sibiya's defamation case, because Shadrach Sibiya is taking Mkhwanazi to court for defamation.
Well,
And
he says he is.
He says he is. I mean,
Has he sent the
City
papers?
Press has spoken to the lawyers, have seen the paper. So they go to Mkhwanazi, like any journalist would. Hey, we need your right of reply. What do you think of this? And his response is that, I hope you are not receiving drug money or you are a beneficiary of the crime intelligence / fund. I think that is so weird. That is so wild. When a journalist asks you a question and you make a suggestion like that, it's actually quite crazy. And I wonder why. If Mkhwanazi has evidence that this journalist is receiving drug money, why is he not exposing that? Why are you making a suggestion like that when a journalist is asking a question? And when you ask that question, people think, oh, you are captured. You are also receiving drug money. For asking a basic question of a public official who's being asked a question by a journalist and they're assuming and suggesting they receive drug money. That's wild. I want to make that case on the open line. At 10 o'clock, we're going to be in conversation with the mayor of Mfuleni local municipality, Sipho Khadebe. This is part of the check-in that we'll be doing with several mayors. We've done Joburg, Ekurhuleni, Tshwane. Today we focus on Mfuleni. So if you've got your questions, your concerns, if you live in the Mfuleni area, this is your opportunity to engage with your mayor. At 11 o'clock, we do our World of Work feature. Today we're discussing how to navigate counter offers. Receiving a job offer is always exciting, but some people take the offer that they've received from company A and they're like, this is the offer, counter offer it right now. Is that the way really to do it? We'll find out. And then we're going to wrap up the show at 11:30 with our health and wellness feature. Today we're discussing walking and running as a form of weight loss. How do you go about it?
I did that once.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a job offer at SAFM.
And?
I went to carte blanche.
And? They counter offered?
No, I went to carte blanche.
Is that...
We'll leave it at that. Kevin Manyatela between 9 and 12.
We plan for vacations, retirement, and even tonight's dinner. But do we plan for our health? It's how we protect our family's future. So who are you staying healthy for? And how can you protect their future? Choose Dis-Chem Life, the life cover that helps you live a healthier, more rewarding life with health checks and extra rewards. Visit dischemlife.co.za now. Dis-Chem Life. Choose a better partner for life. Dis-Chem Life is an authorized FSP 50594, underwritten by Guard Risk Life, a licensed life insurer, FSP 76. T's and C's apply.
Don't miss out on the Powerball jackpot, estimated at a mind-blowing 124 million rand this Tuesday. That's today. Dare to dream big by playing Powerball now for an estimated 124 million rand jackpot and your chance at multi-millions. Buy your tickets now in-store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529 hash for USSD. Panda, push up, play. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. Ituba is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
Phone Outsurance, get a quote and see what they can offer you. If you don't save that 321 like I did, you might get a 500 or $1,000 back. Service and savings, you'll always get something out.
How is it that Outsurance provided the solution for you?
918 Rand is what I'm saving.
Incredible. What brought you and Outsurance together?
718 Rand. I end up saving.
They gave you the real deal.
It literally is the real deal.
Go to outsurance.co.za now for a 10-minute quote that could save you thousands. Licensed insurer and FSP. T's, C's, and information online.
Remember when you had to wait for dial-up to connect? Well, technology moves on. So why are people still driving cars like it's 1999? Volvo's plug-in hybrids are the upgrade you've been waiting for. You don't need diesel power. You just need a second electric motor. Just like you updated from dial-up fiber, you can upgrade your drive with electric for the city and fuel for the open road. Don't be the last one to catch up. You're late for your test drive. It's safe to be brave with Volvo.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
On to this now. young people, young photographers are using their cameras not just to shoot, but to speak, to protest, to heal, to imagine new futures in a country that always wrestles with its past. What am I talking about? Well, it's happening right now at the University of Pretoria, a powerful new photographic exhibition called Moved, Borders, Bodies and Belonging. And it isn't just about pretty pictures, it's about migration, displacement, identity, and the question, who really gets to belong in South Africa? Bandile Gumbi is the head of the Market Photo Workshop and joins us now. A very good morning to you and welcome to 702 Breakfast.
Good morning to you and good morning to all that are listening as well.
All right, so we're talking about through the lens, right, shining a spotlight on migration through this bold photographic exhibition. Tell us more.
The Market Photo Workshop, which is a photography school and a producer of photographic and visual storytelling, partnered with the University of Pretoria's Fine Art Department to do a collaboration on showcasing work by our students in partnership with University of Pretoria students and also bring in the teachers as well. And that's what came out, this exhibition that looked at always pertinent issues that are affecting our country. That's how we teach here at the Photo Workshop. And what came up of just the musing and the thinking is an exhibition that looks at migration, looks at bodies, also belonging both physically and also the notion of belonging in a much more maybe metaphorical headspace as well. And it's an interrogation around how do we represent ourselves, who sees us, where do we get seen as well.
So let's take it away then from the metaphoric. Tell me, what do we see at the exhibition? Tell me the literal photographs and what they depict and why that's important.
The photographs range from seeing people in their lived environments, whether it's within an informal settlement, whether it's within a space of being not belonging and trying to get into a space, whether it's depicting self-identification, which that doesn't necessarily fit into
Bandile,
the
I'm going to
norm.
press you. Hold on. I'm going to press you on this. You're describing it from a very esoteric point of view. I want to know, tell me about the pictures. Do we see mothers? Do we see young children? Do we see old people? In what settings do we see them? Why does it speak to this theme that you've chosen?
Well, okay, we see all of that. But I think it's important people to see for themselves as well. We see the mothers. We see the children on the streets. We see landscape, which are empty. We see building. We see bridges. We see depiction maybe of floods. We see people in their, young people in their bedroom trying on costumes. So it's all that mirage of who am I, where do I belong? How do I choose to be?
So how does all of that, because I think it's important to give descriptions of what people will see and why these photographs will be compelling and how they then speak to this so that as we come to the exhibition, I can say, oh, this is the grandmother Bandile was talking about on the radio the other day. Oh gosh, that's the empty landscape she was talking about and why she said it was so moving or so poignant for this or that reason, and obviously interpret that work ourselves.
Okay. So what we see color as well. When you're looking at maybe an image of a man from behind and looking out, we are seeing people in costume, safe style costumes. We're seeing women like that. We're seeing women with baggage. We are seeing, let me see other images. We are seeing layered landscape with people and backgrounds and smoke. We're seeing cars in layered backgrounds on the same thing, with depicting a social scene, a landscape scene, and then there's the image of maybe a car spinning.
All right, let's tell me about where the exhibition is happening. I know you're partnering with the University of Pretoria, but where can we see it and where can we get tickets?
There are no tickets. It's at the University of Pretoria Fine Arts Student Gallery in Hatfield, Pretoria.
And when can we come?
And it's open throughout until the 8th of August. It's a public space, so people can go inside the university and get directions to where the gallery is.
Will any of the works be for sale?
There are works for sale, and the prices are there. Some of the works can be for sale, but the person who's interested needs to contact the photographer.
All right.
And that information is on the walls.
All right. Bandile Kumbi is the head of the Market Photo Workshop. And it's an important exhibition, this one. And that's why I thought it was important to have the curator talk to us about what these pictures mean, because I think they will open your eyes about what it's like to have to leave everything behind at the drop of a hat, to migrate to a different country for circumstances not of your choosing, what experience you might encounter in a country that perhaps may not always be welcoming. What does this mean about identity and belonging? That's what these photographs are all about, and some of them are absolutely, absolutely stunning.
702 podcasts are on 702.co.za.
And that brings us to the end of this edition of 702 Breakfast. The Clement Manyatela Show starts now.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. An ad hoc committee investigating allegations made by KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi will meet for the first time today to elect its chairperson.